Hey, Bri, doesn't it suck that the boss is always over our shoulder when we're trying to talk?
Jay, he should be entertained by us. Let's get out of here and finish this conversation.
All right, as long as it's not work related.
Jay,
Buddy Bri,
how's it going?
I am on fire, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. I want to welcome everyone to the work-related podcast.
We be back, people.
Yes.
We are related by work on Twitter.
Yes, we are.
Our fucking, I want to sorry, we already disappointed our vast improvement of the Twitter followers.
Yeah.
We jumped up like 30% and we let them down by not being there last week. Serious technical issues.
Yes, definitely serious technical issues, but we are back and we're ready to go.
We definitely have more listeners than we do followers because we don't do fucking jack on Twitter, but that's okay.
That's okay. We'll get back on it.
And so they might not have known.
You'll
but
get back on it.
We had banger. We had a disappointing turnout. So no more technical difficulties.
No, not for now. Not for the foreseeable future.
But when it does come to Twitter, we brought some of our Legos. Me and the wife.
Yes.
The wife came over for a little visit.
Yeah.
Hasn't been here for a while.
Long time no see.
The kids wanted to see the Legos. So before this comes out, hopefully we'll get that picture out.
Mm-hmm.
But we finally finished our first 18 plus.
Nice.
We're in the adult only company.
Yes. How was it?
It was fun. Like you saw it. Like it's a nice solid piece of art. Or whatever. You puzzle.
All of the above.
Yeah, it was cool.
Puzzle art toy.
Yep, that's what it is. Lego. And then I sent you a thing. So whatever, we'll put that out. But I found out on social media there's like some Lego convention coming to our town.
Yeah,
like in the summer. I can't wait.
I'm going.
That video that they you're going without the kids.
Yeah, exactly. They were never part of this equation.
It was crazy to see some of the things. Like they showed like some dude like made a battleship that was like fucking 10 feet long.
Crazy.
I don't even know. Like these nerds, I think, are like just putting it together themselves.
Yeah, they go. You've been to the Lego store?
No.
You know,
oh yeah.
They have the wall of just parts. Like you can just buy whatever Lego pieces you want.
To me,
that's what I seen a couple guys on YouTube. Like this one guy on YouTube, he's building like an entire city.
Wow.
And he buys some of the other cities, like the what was it, the Daily Bugle? You've seen that one?
I want that.
So he puts all these into it, but he also builds his own cities, and it's like his thing is massive. It's probably like the size of this room, maybe bigger. And there's just like water, there's roads, there's cars, like it's nuts. People are into it.
He takes like real kits and then makes his own like in between buildings, between like the Daily Bugle and whatever else.
And then he buys other like just random pieces, like like 4x4 green tiles for grass, and he makes like parks and shit. Like it looks pretty cool.
Well, I was super impressed with how this like actual working game came together.
Yeah.
You do forget like how they're delicate. Like I brought it over and Kai and I were playing and like the knob piece is falling off because I want to score a goal on him so fucking good. And it was really cool. So yeah, we have this is like, don't listen to Lego people, but we have the knockoff Lego, the Alibaba to do next.
That's the next one.
Yeah, it's a Wally. We talked with you as you blew the budget early on your yearly Lego. And then you had I don't even know if that was on air, your monitor.
Oh, my monitor mishap, that came in. Then we decided to buy a freaking coffee machine. That came in.
Oh, that was definitely last week. We talked about that. I don't know how many fucking things I got to remember we didn't bring up. Your highfalutin coffee machine.
Oh, yeah.
Is that still going well?
It is still going well. Now we're getting into like now when you go to like stores and stuff, like there's Javanut downtown. And they have like a whole bunch of different like coffee beans sourced from Ontario locally and stuff. And like, so now you're getting into different beans, how they're roasted, how they...
Wait, how do coffee beans grow in Ontario?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I thought like Juan Valdez in fucking Colombia.
Listen, all their beans at this place is sourced from Ontario. Isn't that crazy?
Are they like hydroponic?
I don't know.
Yeah, that is crazy.
The one we got is delicious, I'll tell you that much. And so
it's fucking up nature. That can't be real.
Right?
I mean, maybe, I don't know. I'm not dissing. What do I know?
So we bought a big bag of beans from the grocery store. Just an espresso bean, like a massive bag, like about I think it's a little over a kilo for like $20. And then
it's like 4 coffees, right? Like that's like 4 fucking Tim Hortons coffees.
It's a kilo.
Well, no, $20.
Oh yeah,
like $20 is like buying whatever. 8 coffees.
And that's so basically our coffee machine takes about 200 grams, and so that 200 grams lasts a little over a week.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then we buy the little bags of like ones that we see that we just want to try.
Like different, like the same company, or you
Just random,
switch. You're not
different
loyal.
random-
You're not brand
So the
loyal.
one we just tried is called Firebat. That's the Ontario one. It's called Firebat, and it's like it's roasted and it has like chocolate undertones and stuff. It's actually really good.
Are you really good with these flavor like profiles? Like I share a tequila love with you, and
Yeah.
and a variety of tequila. You can't keep tequila in your house for
Nope.
fucking more than 2 or a
Nope.
week. Never mind.
Goes
We had that other thing. So
It
you're always
goes.
looking for the next best thing, even if it's the bottle. And we're like, oh, this is more vanilla-y and this is more
Yeah.
this. But I'm an idiot. Like it's really hard for me to. I need to be told. You know what I mean? Like once you told me that the Azul had like a vanilla tone to it or whatever, I'm like, oh yeah.
That's what I don't like.
What do you
right?
mean?
You're like, oh,
That's why
vanilla,
I don't
that's
like
what
it,
I'm
maybe.
talking about.
Yeah,
That's the
but I wouldn't have
flavor.
said
Yeah.
vanilla. Then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
say it
yeah.
and I can't get it out of my head.
So
Right? Like I associate it, but I'm not smart enough to. My palate isn't
My-
sophisticated.
I'm good with it when it comes to foods and like drinks, but like when it comes to like, I don't know how. I always see videos of this on YouTube and stuff. Of people do it with wines. I can't. I know what I like and what I don't like when it comes to wine, but I don't know how these people are pulling out like, that's an Australian bean, and I'm just like, what, beans in wine? They're like coming up with all this shit that I'm not good at, but I can taste it in other shit.
Yeah, so you are like a cook wise, so that's why I guess you're not looking to do this, but you're like adding this to your in the coffee way,
Yeah,
right?
I
Like
coffee.
so yeah, like are you? I guess you must be finding yourself like looking for the specialty bags, like you're saying.
Yeah.
like you notice it now.
Yeah, so
Like-
now we're gonna start purposely looking for specialty bags and just trying 200-gram
Yeah.
bags, which is just one hopper of our machine. And when that runs out, we'll try another one. Right?
Are you drinking more coffee now because you got this coffee
No, I
machine?
drink the same. I drink the same pretty much. I drink more on the weekend now than I used to. Like once, like sometimes I wouldn't drink coffee on the weekend because when I wake up from drinking, I'm so dehydrated. I don't want to drink coffee. Right? So
That's a sidebar. When do you know that you're fucking being an idiot? Not you, me too. When does one know that they're being an idiot and they've not drank water in too long?
oh man, the next day when you're throwing up.
Because as I'm saying it now, I have not drank a fucking glass of water all day.
Sometimes I'm conscious of it and I go, fuck, I should really drink water, but then I don't.
I was out fucking doing fucking shit with the wife and I had coffee before I left and I'm just like, oh man, I need a fucking drink of water. And then I go, I'm going to be going to the fucking Heartless Studios and I'm going to get some beer and tequila into me.
Yeah.
I got to get some water before. And it's like, okay. And we went and visited a friend at a restaurant, grabbed lunch. So I grabbed a couple beers there. So I've had beer, tequila, and coffee.
And no water.
No water.
Oh God,
I
Jay.
know. I'm going to have to leave here and start drinking some water.
Just chug some.
When I'm fucking when my head is all fuzzy tomorrow, I'm going to,
You'll be like,
I'm
damn,
t-
I should have drank water.
but that's what I'm saying. So, but you know this. I'm in the middle of it right now.
Yeah.
And how many times? I think there's like a drink wise, like a drink of water between each drink you have.
Just set a they should. I'm gonna make an app for our watch. You're not wearing your watch. I'm gonna make an app for our watches that the water drinking time, and you drink water while you're drinking. So you can be like, okay, I'm gonna be drinking alcohol tonight, so I'm gonna start my timer, and it'll remind you every hour and a half to drink water. How about that?
See,
I'm a
the reason I don't watch
genius.
wear my watch on the weekend is because once I turn off my taking care of myself fucking mode, then the watch doesn't mean I don't even give a fuck what time it is.
No,
You know what I mean? Like
hell?
it's only there for me to count my steps during the week and doing all that and all the listening to your like the Lego talk and they're whining about work and shit. I haven't been able to talk about my struggle. I need my own Monday motivation to keep my own future self and me
Mhm.
like in check.
Yeah,
Because we haven't talked about that shit for a while.
yeah.
So like so I've been on like about a 4-week binge of trying to take care of myself more than others.
You go, Jay.
It's not. And so I've stalled myself from getting worse,
Yeah,
but I'm in the middle of a frustration where I'm not like gaining anything yet. I've been exercising like 3-4 days a week for about 4 weeks now. I've cut out bread a little bit, but not, I think I'm going a little bit too hard on the weekend.
okay.
But I'm looking so far forward to the weekend. And now my weekend starts on Thursday night because of the schedule and shit I got to do. So I've been managing to not drink Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. When I don't even know if we said it on air. I remember I've told you that it was 3 weeks ago, at least now, that I brought a beer to my chair.
Yes.
I got a Monday and
you brought it back.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
I stared at it because I didn't want to ruin the momentum or the motivation's got not the motivation's the same, but the momentum has gotten easier, right? It is like just a suck up and do it. And I did want to hear myself on the Monday try to say it again, because that is the best part of your whole Monday motivation part, is just like, don't start the week off negative. Like in my case right now, talking about it, it's just like, if I'm going to try to be my best and not eat all this carb load or drink anything or eat bread, then don't start off on like, oh god damn, I can't have this.
Yeah.
Right? Like start off, okay, let's go, boy. You know what I mean? Like, let's be your best, and before you know it, it's going to be the weekend and you can start again.
Yeah.
But it's when.
So you have been reading them.
Of course.
Oh,
well, you don't want to talk about work shit, and the lucky people were avoided a whole 2 hours of work related shit that was more work related than we thought last week.
That got very deep.
And not to tease, but
sorry.
We'll slip it in. Don't be sorry. It's not. It's like the third one we've missed.
The first one that we've missed.
No, wait,
maybe
what? How dare you?
Maybe second, but I think the first one. Yeah.
He must be drunk. He's admitting to these things. Yeah. Well, I told you that, like, in your most negative thoughts, when you're disappointed in how your shift is going, like, not to just jump into something, but you know what I mean, like, I mean, you've motivated them in a lot of ways. You've talked about how your team is going to stay there with you at times when you had to stay late, and if Brian's got to stay, we go, and then moving from one body to another, and then when it hasn't been going quite so well, and you were talking about like how it might reflect on you. You've gone from like leaving a position like me where my work does the talking. Yeah. Like my hours is one thing. Like I have to defend if I'm slower than Johnny. I can just rest on he's younger and faster and better looking or whatever. You know what I mean? Like he can do things better than me in that way, or he's more motivated to beat me than I am him. When we talked about Tariq wanted to beat me in the same job, like I'm going to do my best to have that not happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? But Johnny just doesn't. He's not looking at it that same way, and I'm not looking at him doing it in that same way.
Yeah,
I'll gladly let him beat me because I don't want to because I can't do all the things it is to go fast. But I was going to say this. So I'm just like looking at it in a negative thing. It's just like, okay, well that's like me to deal with. But now, like, and that's you. So I can justify why it took me longer than Johnny, and I can justify this and that because it's physical. It's this shelf having to go in there, like in that drywall that I broke. And you know what I mean? Like I can try to justify it all I want, but I have to admit I'm maybe not the greatest handyman. So, but you're going from building the truck to watching other people build trucks, and like, you know what I mean, having to answer questions that you've never posed to them. Like, why is the drawing like this? And you're like, I look at you like you already know how hard it is to interpret those drawings. So
I already know how hard it is. It used to be.
What?
Well, that's the thing. Like, and that's why I try to put myself. Sometimes I try to take a step back and be like, okay, because now, I'm in the past 2 years that I've been here. Right, I'm going into my 5th year. The past 2 years that I've been here, I've started, and I know you for sure you've done this 100%. Started jobs multiple times without even ever opening the book. And then you forget how people actually have to look at the book, right? You know what I mean? And so it's like when they come to me with these questions, my initial thought is just fucking do it. Just like shut up and just do it. But like you said, it is hard to interpret those drawings sometimes.
I think it might have, just to repeat ourselves, if it wasn't on one of the one that didn't get deleted, it's like we aren't hiring. We're hiring new engineers all the time. Like it's
not even engineers, just designers.
Designers. Like I said, we're not getting a fucking 45-year-old that worked at fucking Boeing to come and do our drawing.
Yeah.
Like they're not like as sophisticated as that. Like when that Heiner guy came in, that was the closest thing.
Yeah.
And a guy like me hated that. Like he was trying to IKEA up the fucking process. Mm-hmm. And I'm like just like we've talked about this week, like, go ahead and try to tell me or people like me how to build what I've already been building for 30 years.
Yeah.
And if you're worried about how fast it is now, all you're doing is adding to that time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like I've already know how to ignore the drawings, but it's a very slippery slope because if you do something wrong and just assume that the drawing is what it is, then, and it's not that, then you have no defense.
Yeah, you don't.
And then, so it's just like, God, you're making me go through this book. You're making me like double take what I think is already right because you've changed what it is and then say, well, You know what I mean? You should have looked and seen. Okay, like first chance is you want to get defensive and say, stop telling me how to do the job I'm hired to do, and you like what I do, and now you're like in meetings that I'm not part of are change. You know what I mean? Like making this, try to make it in this in a generalized way, an IKEA way, so we're a company that lots of new people can come in, and we're not so relied on the guys doing it the tried and true way.
Yeah.
And it's like it's hard. Like this is hard as a physical comment, as an actual like guys with the capabilities of doing it and how to do it. What you're experiencing now, and like this is what I tried to might have got lost in the conversation, is what you're better at that maybe Marcel is because of your experience working at places like you can't keep a job. You've done it in different industries, even if it's in a welding thing, right? Like you've dealt with these type. And unfortunately for you, you've gone from like, you are the Boeing coming to our company. You've gone from the airport where it has to be self-sufficient or not like so reliable.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can be like the rest of us are just like frustrated with the airport. Oh, they lost our bags. Oh, it's delayed. But you're on the boots on the ground say, I just watched 1 million suitcases go back and forth on the tarmac. Yeah. Like you're so lucky that only like 0.5% got lost.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. And it was freezing rain 20 minutes ago. So yes, you're lucky that your flight was only delayed an hour. Right. Because this other flight, like 100 flights are coming from Europe right now. And so, but you know that. And to be a boss of that is a lot easier because of, like you mentioned, again, I don't know what's not recorded or not, is come from this place that had laminated welding tests and laminated drawings.
Yeah.
You were like, can you believe that?
Yeah.
Well, no, because I'm not there. Right. Like, and then to go from that, you know what I mean? Like that, you had such a leg up on being a boss in a situation that you can come in here, and as hard as it is for you to deal with the people, you know what I mean, on a people level, like boss level, now you're trying to do, is that you have to cut Marcel slack because he's done none of that. He knows the chaos that is with the Wilcox, and you have at the best. I love you guys. Don't no litigation. That you guys, like, you know what I mean. That's there, right? That's the internal, like that. But that's all he knows, and it's like, but he doesn't know how to deal with the people to do it. On one-on-one, he could take a guy like you, or even like a guy like Aaron, who has issues, you know what I mean, of his own. But Marcel doesn't see it because he does what I say. And I look at it, and if I have to inspect this guy's work, it's done to the way I like it. And now, you know what I mean? Now Aaron has to hand something off to a guy that you have to deal with and treat him with that kind of respect. We've talked about it, why you don't want to do that, and all the reasons why, or maybe it's just me, I harp on more negative things, and you've tried to like not be as negative to me. You say, you know what, this guy's not so bad. You should like him because he likes animals. And, you know what I mean? Like finding good. And it's admirable. And that's what we've talked about, be a good leader. But now you're trying to meld this. You know what I mean? Like it's just like these guys are coming together, and you and Marcel are having to whatever, like learn how to, I don't even know, like communicate what these guys communicate to you, to each other, because they can't do it with them. Like I used for years, I've hated Charles so much. And I'm frustrated with the way the drawings are so much. And I haven't had my ideas brought, whatever it is, whatever my frustration is, and my anger is just like, you know what, I'm never going to agree with this guy. This guy's always going to find a reason. So you know what, Ali, I have a problem with this drawing. Go find the reason why. Oh, now Sean? Okay, Sean, hey, this is fucked up. I'm not making a thing until you clarify this up for me. And he'll look at it and go, why would they do that? And then he'll be on my side, just like you're defending your guy. I don't understand any of this bullshit. He might be going on his own podcast and going, this fucking guy. Yeah. And then they come back to me because I've made my boss do their thing. And one of the frustrations was, and I'm jumping a whole bunch of ways, was that Marcel doesn't utilize the team he has behind him during the days. Yeah. You feel like you're, I don't know, sorry to put it in, but you feel more of like a lone wolf at the nights?
Yeah, I feel like more that I'm just like...
not you against the world, but you don't have as much support?
Yeah, there's no support down there on our shift, right?
I don't think it's a good way to look at it. Like you're right, physically they're not there. Yeah. But I've told you, like, mentally you have to treat them like they are. I don't like hearing you think of how your night shift is running and how it might negatively affect yourself.
But but because I took on this responsibility, I feel like no matter what, it's going to reflect whatever I do, whatever my job is on that shift. Like if that shift doesn't produce or that shift doesn't work out, I feel like all of it ends up being my fault. I think like, oh, this guy's not doing this job. Oh, okay. Who's running that shift? Oh, Brian is. Oh, that Brian guy is doing it. Oh, you know that Brian guy who sends out those Monday emails? He's doing that
so
shit.
no, you can't add what I said to you to throw that in there.
Yes, I can.
No. Stop back. So yes, those are all. I would be. I would be 100% fucking positive in this thought that anybody listening to this can throw any negative like thoughts into their head about what they do. Like
For sure.
all kinds of people think they're frauds. Like, you know what I mean? Like we talked last week on the Chris Rock thing and do all that. It's just like nobody. What comes across is Chris Rock doesn't look as confident as Dave Chappelle when he does his job. It's a lot longer that everybody's got their styles. Chris Rock is more of like a preacher style. You know, he says everything twice. He has his own way. Like they're two different people.
Yeah.
But one of the things about like Dave Chappelle, and it might not be the right, is he's so confident in himself. But really, that takes practice. Like that's not an act.
For sure. It's
right?
No,
like
no.
it's not a thing. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
He worked on that.
Yes, and but he like so all of his listening like feel fraudish in a way. I hate welding tests. Right? Like I was so happy when we didn't have to do it. And why? I've welded longer than almost anybody there.
Exactly.
And I see it, I do it, but you know, I fucking get nervous about it. I guess like, oh my God, should I not be welding anymore? Am I for all these younger guys coming up that are hungry to do it? You know what I mean? Like as much as Jordan is a clown and how I can see how he is, sugar free, is that what he does is he has, you know what I mean? He loves wearing the fucking welding t-shirts. He's got welding stickers. Like he's more gung-ho about his potential of what he has.
He has a TIG welder tattooed on his calf.
So that's ridiculous. Okay, almost like that. So I'm never going to love my job that much.
I love it. I actually, this is a quick sidebar. I have been thinking to get some sort of welding tattoo. Nothing too obvious, but something that like, so I've always had this plan. I've been writing down, I know this is a big sidebar. I've been writing down like what I plan to do in a sleeve, in a whole arm sleeve. I want to do an arm sleeve. And like, you know, a lot of sleeves, they have your main tattoos and then they have like a lot of background stuff, right?
Like to fill in. Like, yeah.
So in the background, one of my things are music notes, right? Would be in the background and stuff because I like music. I play drums. Like, you know, music's a part of my life.
You can get it.
And I was thinking to put something in the background that has to do with welding. But there's nothing pretty about any of the have you
Googled welding tattoos?
Yeah, I have. And I'm just like, none of it's pretty. They're always skull and crossbones or skull and welding things. Or like, have you ever seen a welding MIG gun? Like, I don't want that on me. You know what I mean? So what am I supposed to do? Put a welding bead around me? No, fuck that. So I want to figure out something that represents the fact that I do like welding, but that's not fucking tacky.
It's hard. I've Googled it myself. This is ages ago again. Fucking, I love this sidebar. 'Cause I don't have many tat. I got one tat and I've never really like, so I've thought of that too. Yeah. I've watched some old, I used to watch like the reality tattoo shows, right? And get into it and see that. And almost all my friends all have tattoos. And the only way that I saw that being able like to translate is getting you can get like a tattoo that looks like it's metal. There's a way like to these realistic tattoos. Like I'm telling you, you can Google more. Like the best that I've seen, because most of them are trash. Like I don't want a welding helmet. Yeah, and I don't, because that was one of the better ones. Is an actual helmet with like a arc welder going and the sparks.
Yes,
and you can have something like similar to that. Not the same. It's like some. So when I think of something like that, it's like I'd rather like the mechanical ones. Have you seen the ones where it looks like gears are like in your arm? Yeah. Right? Like your skin is like torn away and your shoulder's like a gear,
those are pretty
hydraulics
cool.
or shit like that. I kind of dig that mechanical aspect of that. So if you think of those, the way they make the metal look like metal. I don't know if it's only like last a year, you know what I mean? Like how much that color fades or whatever, or being a black dude, it's a whole different world, right?
You know how many times I got white tattooed on me?
That's ridiculous. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel sorry for you that you would, I think it would be harder for you to get a good welding tattoo than me. Yeah. Right? Like, but the way that you can make metal now is somehow, like, I don't know, like something like checker plate, aluminum, something like, you know what I mean? Like something of the stick.
Hey, how many volts are, what are the outlets that we plug into? 240?
Oh, I don't know.
Something like that. I wonder if I could get something that shows like 240 volts with like a metal,
already don't like
ripped away skin that shows like you know how they have like an
You want
electrical
a plug,
panel,
like a plug
no, I
behind
want
your
like
arm?
an electrical panel that I control 240 volts.
I
Actually,
would
I'm gonna
rather
do
get a
something like
dial of
that.
some kind.
Put a
instead of-
dial it up.
No, see, I don't like any of that idea. I appreciate you're trying to represent what that is,
Yeah,
but I think that's just I don't think it translates.
it'll translate.
I don't know,
somehow.
man. Like
we'll figure it out.
A fucking big back piece of a fucking back of a truck or a compartment.
Oh my god!
So
Just get CN Rail tattooed on you.
Yeah, well, you maybe successfully sidebarred us from having fucking to talk about your problems at your work. But
yes,
you know what I mean? Like it's a more of a you problem. It's more of you being a fraud. Like it's more you comparing yourself to the worst of who's tried to do your job.
How else do you evaluate where you are in a job?
Yeah,
other than comparing yourself.
Oh,
to
is
the
it better
person
than being
before you?
Is it better to be that than to be like Sugar who thinks too much of themselves? Who I had to take over something that this guy built. And it's a side pack to our truck. It's basically like a kitchen cabinet thing that's like on the like a side of like a big tow truck that you see. It's got like a bunch of doors. They're sometimes longer than shorter. Sometimes the vertical doors and horizontal doors.
Yeah,
But it's just like it's easier to say it's like a kitchen cabinet. I've been building these things for my whole life. And so I had to take over one. And the first thing I saw was everything that was wrong with it. And I could bring up all reasons. I think he's slower than everybody else, and it was just a reason to finish. I think he could have got high and didn't understand that. That's my main thing. This guy likes weed so much, he does not know how to work high. It's
Possibly,
like,
yeah.
No, I know it. I know it for a fucking fact that
Okay.
he does not, like, he gets high and his work fucking suffers. It was the whole problem with his bumper. It was the whole problem with probably the side pack. It's why he's so delusional on why he doesn't think he messed up so much. He'd never even bothered to double check. The problem is that whose job is it to double check this?
Technically, me.
Yes. Technically you.
Technically, me.
Technically you, but whose fault is it that technically it's you, but really, and not to demean you, it's just you are actually a godsend to just be there to close up at night, to make sure there's no fires, to make sure that nobody's coming in there and stealing aluminum, without the police being called. You're not, if somebody came in there to steal aluminum, you're not going to stop them with your hand. You're going to call the cops and say, like, you know what I mean? Like somebody's stealing my company's aluminum.
Or bring them to the dome
Or-
and beat
yeah,
the shit
you
out-
take-
no,
yeah,
no,
whatever.
I'm sorry, no,
Clean it
I don't
up
want
for
to
us or
incriminate
whatever.
myself. Sorry.
No,
Call the
but-
cops. I'm going to call the cops.
Why would you care so much? This is what is probably part of the problem.
And that's the thing. I do care a lot.
That's what makes you good at it. Your comparison with people that came before you were barely hanging on to everything that you do great. And you're adding on this responsibility of like, well, it's not perfect and it could be so much better. And they expect, like we brought it before. You've brought it before. So we all work 44 hours a week. Some people in your production meetings that you've been heard say, they count this one. Okay, this guy is worth 25 hours a week.
Yep,
They say
yep.
it out loud.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy Johnny, I've been trying to could be okay. This guy, we got 44 hours. It might be 50. You know what I mean? And they're trying to push more or whatever. They're giving him jobs that like don't have all the hours on. I don't know, but they count him for the full 44. They count me. Okay, this guy. Okay, we got like 39. Like don't think they nitpick it that much. But if you start become one of these 25-hour guys, then that's who is thought of negatively. When you are taking on the responsibility that you have, it's all what you're complaining about or internalizing is admirable, right? Like I'm off the top of now, this is you look at it this negative, and I've thought this about myself too. It's like, oh, like what negative do they think of me? But if it's a me problem, I want them to come and give me a pat on the back and say, "Attaboy, thanks for finishing that 40-hour job in 40 hours. Thanks for giving us a full week. We appreciate it." But I'm a man. Like I'm a human. That's what I get paid to do.
Yeah.
That's what we all. You know what I mean? Like everybody. Like no, but Selena doesn't get she gets a bonus. Gets to buy Legos and you know what I mean, all those things.
Yeah.
And that's a little pat on the back and that.
You hear that? We get to buy Legos.
You already bought the
Thanks,
Legos. It was the
Jay.
flowers and
Thanks,
the
John.
Legos.
I was talking
Back
about
to
the
Legos.
next one. But
We were
okay.
starting Wally. Let's get back to the beginning of the show. Talking about sidebar. And you know what I mean? Like, so that's, you know what I mean? It's involved.
Yeah.
If she comes to you and says, you know what? My bosses haven't said I've done great for a while. I say, well, what do you expect? You got paid, right?
Yeah.
And so your sympathy like stops. And so you rightfully are looking to be the best possible. It's like, oh man, us as a shift aren't doing good, and this reflects on me in a certain way. And okay, but it's more in your mind. Like the fact that it hasn't caught on fire isn't is a positive for you.
I agree, but you know what the thing is? I hear people talking, like I've talked to you, I've talked to Chris, I've talked to Marcel and stuff, and people always talk about the person who was here, right? Everybody has a story of the people who were here. And like, I don't want to be known as, oh my God, oh, remember these guys who, not saying that I'm not going to be here for a long time, but like you said, I can't keep a job. I can't keep a job. You never know, 7-year itch, all that, right? So like, it's like, I don't want people to remember me as the person who was like, oh, remember that guy who shoulder shrugged me. If you guys go back probably 20 plus episodes ago, a kid in the shop shoulder shrugged you while you were
way
walking.
longer
right?
ago.
Really? So like, I don't want to be remembered as like that, but that's the standout thing, right? I was talking, like Chris has talked about a guy, Vince, is that his name?
Yep.
Who used to work in the paint shop. And like, he talks about him in such like a high regard. That's how I want to be remembered. Whether I was here for 2 years, 10 years, whatever, I don't want to be remembered as like a pariah on the company. And that's like, it really irks me if I feel like the whole day shift, night shift thing, that's whatever bullshit. But like at the end of the day, I would hope that people recognize that I know how to do my job and I know how to work. And they don't say, well, Mandy, I know you hate this. Mandy, look at Mandy. Look at the night shift. You're just like Mandy. Oh, look what happened to the last night shift. It was Mandy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want that to be part of my identity in the company or what it was in the company anyways.
That's then my frustration and like where this got heated last week and we talked about it. It doesn't always have to be heated. It's just
Last
my
week? What are you talking about?
Super frustration. Yeah, what was it? Holiday?
Yeah,
Fucking
it was a
Easter.
holiday. Yeah.
Fuck some silly God's vacation. It's like I said, it's admirable. You don't want somebody to think the other way. The other way is delusional. Like I don't look at it this way, but I'm building the same truck as Johnny. Like I said, so is it admirable for me to just succeed or just accept that he's going to be better than me?
But the thing is, they don't look at you and Johnny as two different levels. No,
we're building the same thing.
You are, but like I was talking to Ali, and we were talking about people on the floor, right? And he's just like, you know, he was saying the same thing. Like you have some people like this. He's like, TU, and I know for a fact that our buddy TU doesn't work as hard as he used to work, right? But he still has this reputation of, oh, you give TU whatever you give him, he's done. It's getting done. That's it. There's not going to be problems. It's not going to be like a million hours over. Like, you know what I mean? It's just going to be done. No problem. He said, TU, he's like, you can give Johnny a body. It doesn't matter. You knock it off. And he said, you can give Jay a body. So no matter what you three do, your legacy is already set as who you are and what you are as workers. Whether you're doing the same body as Johnny, as TU, even if you're doing the same body as Booby, it doesn't change anything. They know that you guys can be counted on and you have a certain type of respect and reputation.
And
right?
That's what I'm trying to tell you at the same thing. So you see that as obvious.
Yeah.
Like I'm not dwelling on that. You know what I mean? Like I'm accepting that.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to experience that in enough way. And I'm self-secure, even though I can admit there's a fraudulent aspect. You know what I mean? The welding test comes up. Do I really know what I'm doing? Am I too old to do this? I get Fridays off because my life is so chaotic that I can't handle it, and I've just like managed away, and I've earned that right to do it. But it's just like, you know what I mean? Like I if I think of all that negative thought, and so you easily and we're not even bringing it up. You easily stomp out that thought. You know what I mean? It's just like Jay, like don't. But I'm not coming. Like I'm not saying you are. But if I kept coming to you and I was obsessed by it. If I let it consume me, if I was just like, wow, this is my identity now. Is me being compared to the guy who did it before me or the guy beside me? It doesn't matter who it is, or a theoretical guy, as a guy like in a meeting, like writing how long my job should be. I have the receipts or the knowledge to back up whatever I say. I can just even say to them like, I'm like, can you watch me struggle going up the stairs right now? Like my
But
legs.
that's the thing. You have the receipts and the knowledge, and you also have the years. You also have the relationships. I don't have that yet. I'm not there yet. Sir, I have certain things, but I'm not there yet where I'll give you an example. I I often, I've talked about it before, I often end up doing the CN big trucks. Like almost every year it comes around, I definitely do one. There's not many years I've not done one, right? Every time I get it, Ali still talks to me, even though he knows I can do it or he knows I've done it. He still talks to me like he still mentions things like I don't know what it's like. I don't know. Like I know this, I can do this truck without the blueprint. Like I said at the beginning of the show, this is one of those things I can do.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about USB. I'm talking about like UFM.
This is
UE2.
one of your specialties.
Yeah, but he doesn't talk to you like that. Whether you, even if you haven't done it in 2 years, he's never gonna bring that to you. I don't get that same thing because at the end of the day, oh, Brian's still new. I told these guys on my shift that it takes you minimum 2 years to learn this job at least.
Okay, well, listen, I want you to remember these things you just said. So this is more personal in your head. Those are right, and that's a thing, and that's an Ali not knowing about like or giving you the concentration of that. But you can you see it's the same thing. It's not the comparison of my relationships with that. Not to jump ahead or to skip this, but I told you that you've been so well received with your Monday motivations. Mm-hmm. Like your aspirations are totally different than what I'm offering to give the company. I'm offering to give the company 40 hours. I don't want any more. I want to be paid fairly. I don't want no aspirations. I don't have like delusional thoughts like Booby has in his head of I should be better. Mm-hmm. I have the luxury of not thinking I'm being discriminated against in any kind of way. I have the luxury of just like, the more we can leave this guy alone, just like Tio, we're going to get what he gives. And yes, I can mire myself in the, like it took me longer than Johnny and how does that reflect on me and this and that. But it's not because I know inherently, it's just like, I know those don't serve me any well. Even if I'm right about it, I still have to go home and take care of the kids or, make some Lego, whatever it is. I'm like, it's not going to, I don't serve me to concentrate on that well. Mm-hmm. And I just have to be sure of myself. Like, no, you should be doing a good enough job. And a lot of times I look at somebody else doing a job like that. And I go, boy, oh boy, I'm glad I don't have to inspect that. Or what an idiot I am for thinking I ever don't give them, the best that I can, right? No matter how slower I'm giving them or doing it. So, but let's talk about you for a sec. You're on a whole different trajectory. You have this 7-year itch. You never came here you never were a welder to be a welder. Mm-hmm. So whatever that fucking means, means that you don't want to be me. So now that means that, if there's an opening on this night shift, I will take it. But even before, let's jump back even before this whole night shift came. The reason why it was offered to you is because you became undeniable. You became friendly with the right people. Mm-hmm. You don't think the work that you've put in with Nicole and Ryan is anything but real, like a real relationship? Okay, well, no, you knew that.
I mean, yes and no.
Okay, well, you're right. Well, I don't. Okay, you get into those safety things.
Sometimes I know. Now we're getting to
no. That's fine. But as an employee of, let's just like whatever. If I'm just talking general as employee, if I find somebody that is looking to go ahead, has first of all proven themselves to be a capable person, taken all of Marcel's instructions, and obviously we got good feedback from that. And now we give him his own trucks. We got good feedback from that. We get these big CNs, and now he becomes a specialist of that. What are the fucking things that made the company alive in the lean years? Yeah. And just like you said about me and Tio and Johnny, they did that for you. And other than Tio and Johnny and me, and Ron, and it was just like, you know what, we're good. You know what I mean? Oh, hey, listen, you're so good at this. Can you help us? Like, fuck off. Go fuck yourself. Give me my money. I'll be here at 7 o'clock. Yeah. You know what I mean? No, well, we start at 6 now. Fuck off. I'm working at 7. Okay.
And make sure something's in my bay
and don't give me that guy's fucking work. And you know what? And if I don't have this, I'll just sit here with twiddling my thumbs until you get me something. Mm-hmm. Until it comes to the point where Ali like sheepishly comes, Jake, can you just build this sliding top for us? So because we don't have anything ready yet to. Yeah. It's like, okay, Ali, yeah, that's great, whatever, right? Like I don't take it like that. You know what I mean? Like so, but how dare you not recognize that the extra step that you give is you're already fucking throwing that under the bus. Yeah. You're already throwing that the fact that you're willing to be more than that is more than anybody ever has. First of all, if somebody's willing to do that, we have to decide, it's like, hey, wait a sec. Is this guy good enough to do that? Is he delusional? Is he like a booby who, you know what I mean? Like, no disrespect, come on, defend yourself. But it's just like, he's not as good as he thinks he is, and he needs some more time. Maybe in time, but we don't trust you enough to open up or close up our shop. And then we go, okay, this guy is good, but is he Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are they just doing this to step ahead and they're really just looking for another job at the next body company? Or wait a second, is this like got a legit natural trajectory and like he sees an opening. He's young, he's got a young family and he sees this and he's just like, hey, wait a sec, I can help this. I can help another, show another guy how to build these trucks that you're special. And now wants to take this opportunity, is willing to go on a night shift and like he's got fucking 3 kids at home. And he's like, that's not easy. They know that and say, oh, that's willing and say, okay, we appreciate it just because they don't pat your back for that. Like they think whatever monetary compensation they give you is for that. They think of the fact that you don't get to build the bodies. You know what I mean? Is that you're more interested. You don't, there's no, your hours aren't counted like my hours. Your expectations obviously are different. And this is what you're dealing with now, but it has nothing to do with what you do for an hour, right? Like, so how long does that battleship take to turn around? You've gone, you know what I mean? You're not going from hourly salary or hourly to like salary, like fucking mumbled too many shots. From hour pay to like a salary pay.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but you've gone from who cares? You got too much running around to do, right? Like you got too much shit to do, like Ali tells you. So you don't get to build that body. So with that, there's a grace period, Brian. All these bosses that you're thinking of have tried this in one way or another. And they're not laughing at your frustration. Like is like, you've been thrown into the fire to say, okay, the only way we know you can get by. So this is the only way. We can't tiptoe around it. We cannot tiptoe how everybody's personalities are different. All right. If you're lucky, you get to tiptoe between Tio, Johnny, and Jay. All right.
Yeah.
That's
you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Right. But if not, then you're going to get Elliot and fucking
Sugar,
the fucking baby elephant.
Oh,
right.
God.
Okay. So what's the average? Right. Then the average becomes, you know what I mean? A theory, like me, whatever, you know what I mean? Like somebody that's, and so there's no handbook. There's no handbook to build the trucks. Your expectation, the fact that you do it and you don't get the pat on the back is that it's all paranoia, that you don't think you know what I mean? Like to think that you think negative is the worst part of that paranoia. The very most of it is that he's not doing it as fast as or he's not as good as it, or I thought but again, it's all just theoretical because the people that you're talking about with the frustrations, again, like really, like if you think about, you know what I'm talking, like, you know what I'm right about. It's like, you wish that it shone like a diamond, right? Like you wish that every night they came in and they said, wow, look what got done. But it's so miscommunicated. You're dealing with whatever goes on during the day that I can't imagine how different it is when you come in at night. And so their own problems, but like it's just secondary. You know what I mean? Like you're never going to get, it's always going to look like at the best of times that they didn't do what I thought they were going to do. And I'm here to tell you that it only reflects on you in a way that's just like, if you got them to do it, it'd be like, holy shit, he's better than I thought he was. And
until I don't.
But then it's not looked at that way. Okay, but then it's what are you asking for?
Lately? I don't know. That's the problem that I have. Like, I don't even know what I'm looking for at the end of the day. I just always feel like that it's like a under the gun type of thing. And I know it's not really like that. I think it's because the disconnect between, it's not even so much like supervisor level, but like the difference between the supervisors at our work and then the upper management at our work. Like you never really know what's really going on. They never really say too much. You know what I mean? And like you just don't know. Like I don't know if you could be blindsided just like that. Like we've seen people blindsided at our work, right? Baby
like
elephant. I'm not talking about like Mandy.
Yeah, baby elephant Mandy.
Like
Elliot.
Mandy, she probably fully expected to not be laid off or be called back, and none of those happened.
Okay. Listen, I'm not going to be a Mandy apologist.
Yeah.
I don't know how much was on their end. I don't know how much they communicated what they wanted from her.
Yeah.
The only way that you could become disappointing is if you fail on giving them a specific thing they asked for. Everything that you're doing is so generalized in my mind. Like, you correct me if I'm wrong, but that's why I just say you're there to put out fires or make sure you can close a shop and be a person of authority. Like you, and again, I know where you're looking at Mandy, but like I don't know how much they were disappointed in her and never let her on. Like the talk behind the thing is that she was inexperienced, both in people management and doing the job.
Mhm.
It's hard for somebody to tell, like, you already know what now. We can't get the bosses to tell me, Tio and Johnny how. Oh, let's leave Tio out of it. You can't tell me, Johnny and Ron how to do our jobs.
Yeah.
We'll laugh at you and say this is going to take me or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, if you want this done, when you want, like, just let me do it. Yeah, you're right. And so the rest of it is again of a growing pain. You at least have the fucking ability to defend your job, your work. Like, I'm trying to make fun of you with the floors you made. You made a second better one than the other one, but
That was phenomenal, Jay.
But
I
you
tried very
fucking
hard.
say-
I tried
I
hard.
know, because how much of that was because I ragged you on the other one? But you had a righteous defense on how you built the other one. Not like a Jordan defense or a Gordon defense, like, well, the drawing said this, so I did it. You're like, well, I built it like this because every time I've done it like this. And I respect that so much.
Mhm.
I don't respect you enough that I won't argue with you about it, I guess. But you know what I mean? That's part of, like, whatever, like having
Yeah.
friends and talking fun. But like, you're ready to defend yourself. She was never in a position to defend why you should build something. You know what I mean? Like, it's ironic she's in charge of the company that, like, is in the fire trucks now and gets to critique Johnny's, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah, I
work,
know,
which she
right?
can never do. Right? Like, it's just, but that's, you know, people fail up sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, she
Yeah.
could be the best thing that ever happened to her. She could come into a place that does have the laminated drawings. And you know what I mean? Like, she might fit into this structure if she had a mentor or somebody above her, you know what I mean? That took her better people qualities, you know, or
Mhm.
whatever it is, right? Like, whatever other shit I
Yeah.
don't have. So you don't have to, you're not coming from that deficit. You're dealing with people that are, but compared to those comments, like, you're dealing with people with unrealistic expectations,
Yeah.
right? Like, you were talking about, even like between Sugar and Gordon, it's like you were trying to show Gordon where those unit tracks go. And you go, yeah, these are marker holes. You put them there and there. And he was like, well, I want measurements. And I was like, you're like frustrated with saying, like, there is no measurement. Can you just do that?
Yeah.
And he's not helping you.
No.
You know what I mean? A man would fucking, like, a normal, like, a good worker would fucking help you and just say, I get it. Didn't it suck that these yeah, but just go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it is. But no, he has to make that extra dig and, like, put it on you. I do think it comes with a lot of jealousy. I see it more in Marcel, and I guess it's hard to see with you because you're on nights, but it might even be more prevalent with you
Mhm.
because you have no years. You have like 5 years, and
Yeah.
but it's hard for me to have Not, I can do it because I don't care who's my boss. But you see, it's like, and maybe I don't even give him that full respect because I worked with him. It's just like hard for me to see you as my boss when we were working side by side just now.
You guys have a relationship, right?
I know, and so it's easy, and he benefits from me wanting to make it easier from him, and that's what's disappointing about like Tariq or somebody else who's going to go out of their way to make it harder. Why this comment about Gordon? Like, well, why isn't the measurements there? Why can't you just fucking do it?
Yeah.
I just told you why the measurements weren't there. Like, are you trying to fix the world right now? Like, this drawing should be like that. Where I've told you, and this wasn't like recorded, it's just like part of your frustration you feel is that you don't have the teeth. You know what I mean? Like, to back up some of the things you want to back up, or however you put it. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't. There's nobody there. Realistically, if I do something, are they gonna stand by me? Which I started this week, after last week's episode. Which I started.
Banger.
So we went through a lot of shit this week.
You had a horrible week. You've had a horrible
week.
2 weeks, buddy.
Marcel messaged me today and said, "He's like, yo, I'm sorry you had a stressful week because this
That's
week
nice.
was full of shit. This week was shit, like complete shit." But what I was trying to get to is that there was this incident where Sugar was like saying he was gonna complain about Marcel and Nicole about how they were doing their jobs, about how they embarrassed him in front of
Ryan,
a
too.
bunch of people, and Ryan. He was gonna complain to Ryan actually, and I told Marcel. Marcel's like, "I don't give a fuck. Go ahead, tell Ryan. Go ahead, tell Ryan. I don't give a fuck." And then we were talking to Nicole, and Marcel was in there, and he mentioned it to her, and then she's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, they want to have a meeting with Ryan because they felt like, you know, they were embarrassed in front of everybody telling them about the side packs, but your side packs that you were talking about earlier."
Not mine.
Okay, their side packs that were given
Sorry,
to you,
sorry.
right?
The ones I was talking about earlier.
And it made me think like, well, None of these two people gave a fuck that they were going to go talk to Ryan. They didn't care at all. They're like, yeah, go ahead. And so it basically reinforced what you were saying on last week's episode, that they were going to that if I say something, there's a very slim chance that Ryan is not gonna back me up. Right?
I noticed that in you this week.
He's going to because like,
Oh, I said to you, what if you caught somebody drinking out back?
yes.
And
you
you
said
would,
that this week.
and
Monday.
you would say like you would say, we don't want that here. I'm confident that if I, you know what I mean? Like if like why did you tell this guy to go home? Well, I caught him drinking. Well, thank you. And I said everything else is exactly the same. Right? And I noticed that in you.
Mhm.
Even when we said it and the people didn't get to hear you think it out loud, then one of the better things about you is, and I try to take it, is this, you do know how to listen.
Mhm.
You do recognize, you know what I mean? Like you don't just wait for the next thing to say out of your mouth. You do take something like that and just go, how much is that? You know what I mean? I can't imagine how much you got to filter because I talk so much, but I appreciated that. Like I recognized that was one of my better things to say.
Mhm.
And I mean, I don't know how your whole week wasn't like that, but I now that you say it like that, I do feel that was behind how everything you did this week happened.
Yeah.
And you maybe got some confirmation of that,
Yeah.
right? Like, and not to throw, one of the things you said last week, it was just like, on the other side of the shop, I don't know what their podcast is called, you know what I mean? But like a whole other, you know, they're dealing with their own sugars and this and that,
Yeah.
is that the lead hand there got Ryan to do the bidding that him and Ryan talked about. Like, just say if this was, like, they caught Sugar drinking out and just like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, Ryan, this is what happened. Can you go take it? And I thought in a way, so it's like, you know what would have been better is if Dave just did it that self. If I'm one of the guys under Dave and I see that, it's like, well, how much does this guy have? You know what I mean? Like it's almost like it's cutting the teeth out of Dave. And we agreed that if we could do it again, it's just like, you know what, have in that particular incident, we was like, he could have had a meeting with Ryan and said like, this is a decision that we want to make on this particular person. And then to be cognizant of like, I want to say it. Like, I don't want you to be over, you know what I mean? Like, and so, yes, like in talking about somebody else, you got to see how he was Ryan's mouthpiece. He would have Ryan's, and in the drinking case, it's like, yes, this is why you're doing the job. You don't realize the respect you have for being this person. Just because they gave it to a person like Mandy, who you want way more respect than you feel she was given, is that you are. Like, nobody else was ever not given that respect. Her respect was not given, maybe because she was a woman. Maybe because she was a woman of color.
Yeah.
Like you've talked about, you know what I mean? Like this was, nobody's going to get to hear this because I can't recreate this because I'm the privileged person I am. But we brought, like, part of Booby's thing was he thought he wasn't getting a leg up in the safety thing because of discrimination.
Yeah.
And how much of that was true and how much wasn't because another brown guy took his job, and how much has they already given him with his immigration, and how many is like, how unfair is it to be the first thing they say, like, is discrimination. And then I'm talking to you as nobody, you know, a black guy, and it's like, how much am I an idiot to not recognize that might be the case? How much of this institutionalized thing is a real thing that I'm just, you know what I mean? Like every other person of color has to deal with. So let's, again, you're lucky not to talk about that right now, but like that could have put a part of Mandy's fucking problem. And again, she couldn't back it up, and she wasn't good enough to just say, I've already built this truck under hours for years. She could never fucking say any of that. Everything she did was just barely done great. And she was only in there because we needed somebody.
That
you know
is
what I mean?
true.
Like, reliable. So you're already starting off from a bigger thing. And the most thing I said to you, and you know, you can talk about it this week, was your fucking gay Monday motivation thing. Is you've been praised from the top boss. When people found this, they can't believe this is a real thing. We talk about to whoever's listening to this now, like from the scrubs like me to fucking to CEOs and bosses of companies, is like, that's the most comfy kiss ass thing I can think of, or
Right?
like genuinely real thing I can think of, or the most surprising thing I can think of. But it's an anomaly, and it's a good anomaly. It's not a fucking. It's selfish. You like to be talked about. You like when people talk about you. You
I
like
do.
to be known, but it's a selfless. You're doing it. You know what I mean? To bother people, I think, mostly. But you're doing it because it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's well received. The more well received you hear about that, the better you feel about doing it. We can get into the conversation about how much of a commitment you have to do.
God.
I want you to turn into this brand. This could be like LinkedIn wide, all these other things. And then you've never really thought negatively of that, right?
Mhm.
Right? Like I'm giving you the gay aspect of it, and the, you know what I mean, like and the kiss ass aspect of it, and all. But you don't listen to that, right?
No.
You think about, so how would that same person who looks at that think of that person doing that motivation is doing anything else wrong? Right? Like, isn't it, like you're trying to motivate people on an email every Monday when we're all dragging our ass. And when you got your night shift to be a, you know, like go from job to job, like finish this one, finish this one, finish this one, you were so proud of it. You're so proud of yourself. And it didn't last as long as you wanted it to, but how much was out of your control? The jobs got faster and more coming.
Yeah.
And it's just like there was no ability to do that. There was no finish to do that. Now you throw in this day shift thing who's actively fighting against your night shift guy. Just like whatever you and Marcel do in between that, again, it's just as admirable as the whole Monday motivation thing. They don't separate that. They were just like, how did this guy go from motivating me on Monday to like what? Like what negative thought could you put in there? He's like not as good as he was. Like, you know what I mean? Like and if it's just, then they're deflecting all the thoughts that they have that they should be thinking about, which is like, why did we give this guy too much? Why are we expecting them to automatically build these Rogers vans like they've been building them forever?
Mhm.
We got two different sets of people that have never built them before and one taking over the other. And there's so many shitty aspects that it's on the communication. You guys should have had a meeting. This is new. You guys should have had a meeting to be told what to tell them, what their job expectations are. Like they might tell you they're too busy to do that, but you know what I mean? Like Marcel should be told to tell Aaron what is, you know what I mean? Like where they were going from here and what they want to leave for the night.
Yeah.
But basically they just come in and they go, is Aaron here today?
Yeah.
Right? No,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then they go from there. Is that fucking on Marcel? Like, no.
No.
Is it nice enough? It's in Marcel's head if he's thinking, oh, I wish I could go do all that. So it's only your own expectations. Like it's annoying to hear that you think that of your, like people think that of you.
That's something that's hard to get out of my. That's something that's hard to get out of my head. You know.
I know, but and I got off it, but I did see that you had more of that confidence in yourself this week. I did see that your frustrations.
It was a rough week.
What?
It was a rough week.
I know, but you
I had to navigate it. I took the advice you gave and just like, you know, like sometimes you just have to. We were talking. I don't know if we talked about this on air.
missed podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. But like, I had to take the opportunity to let them deal with it. Let the management put it in their hands.
We have a problem.
We do have a problem.
Not you.
Yeah. We as a company, because you know, I'm on your guys' side now.
See?
Right,
We lost that politician
right.
there for a while.
Right.
It's never the politician's fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's either the person above them or the person below
This-
them.
I inherited this problem,
Yeah,
or
no.
it's these fucking this other.
This is from the last administration.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and so, I mean, like, fun. That's great. Like, it fills me like to hear that you say it like that. But like, I don't want to lose the conversation. Like, I jump in front of the line. Is that whatever shit you were dealing with this week and how you deal with it? It was nice to see that you thought of it in that way. And
Mhm.
it ultimately ended up with this whole grievance report.
Oh God!
Like, I don't even know what you have to even come into. So I'll tell you from my part, because I have this luxury of all the privileges that I've had for my whole life.
Watch it from the sidelines.
No, is getting to build what I want to build.
Oh.
Is never having to deal with people like you building my floors
Yep.
or whatever. And then I
You'll
fucking...
be lucky to have me build your floor, Jay.
Is that the word? And then the... and so, but like in this whole conversation, it's like I get to do what I get to do. And so this is, always from the sidelines. It's like, look at how fucking shit that is. You've brought into a conversation that this sugar guy like thinks everything is so great, and then he gets a little bit more complicated of a job, and he's just like, oh, I wish I could do this for my whole life. It's just like, that's an anomaly. This other thing you're complaining about is like your job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, get used to it, Buttercup. And I'm just like, it's funny. But so I was building a truck, and I had to do one of these like side pack things, these kitchen cabinets, and I was like, I was appalled by how bad it was. I've looked at other people's jobs, and again, the one of the people that can defend themselves, I think my truck looks better than Johnny's.
Yeah.
Like Johnny wipes down his well, but I think my welds look better than his. I don't like. I see what rushed. I don't. You know what I mean? Like I don't like. It's very minimal, and it might be nitpicky, and I could see. But it's just like not everything about this guy is better than me in my mind, right?
Of course not.
So that's. But I
He
also
doesn't have a
that's
podcast.
what, false. Anyway, and so this joining guy, and I was like, I looked at it, I was like, what the fuck happened here?
17 years experience.
And I'm like, you're right. I'm almost mad. Okay, so who let this happen? And I think it's like a part of you don't have like it's an unsupervised thing. Like, is it your job to make sure that he crosses every T and dots every I?
Well, that's one of the things that me and Marcel talked this week. Everything's pretty much good, right? We talked this week, and I was like how much am I supposed to be over these people's their shoulders, right? Like, am I supposed to tell them that your weld is too cold? Like, am I supposed to watch every weld and say this one's too hot? Like, am I supposed to do that? No, you're a welder. You're hired as a welder. I don't feel like I should be over your shoulders for those kind of things. You know what I mean? That's QC. That's QC.
When this, and my aggravation is in this growing from the $10 million company to the 25. We can't keep building them the way that we have now with me and Johnny, trusting the vets. We need to IKEA it up in some kind of way.
Yeah.
So eventually a guy like Jay is going to get Sugar's fucking side pack. But my frustration is like, now my name is on this truck.
Yeah.
Now by the time this gets
You're
to
the last
Sammy or
person who
Chris,
touched it.
and they look at this fucking cold welds and do this, like, what happened? In my mind, again, this is how you can look at it, like, as how it's a stupid thought. It's just like, in my mind, they're going like, what happened to Jay this week? And in reality, they don't pinpoint it to that.
No.
They go, well, this is another good one, or this is another bad one.
Or they say, oh, that definitely wasn't Jay.
Or they maybe maybe I get the most benefit of the doubt. But in my that's rare for me to, I mean, only at my highest do I think of that.
Yeah.
Like, but most of it is the same negative thoughts, not same, but the same negative spiral that you were thinking of. And it's just like, oh, am I not good? Am I losing it? Are they thinking that? Like, how much is it really my fault? And so, because of the respect that I have for you and Marcel, like, I get this fucking garbage fucking side pack, and I'm like, I don't want my name anywhere associated to this. I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. How am I supposed to like exist in this living? You know what I mean? And they're looking at it just like, can you just shut up and just finish this? It's going to take another 20 hours, another job. Like, don't worry. But we appreciate. Can you point out or just like get the job done? And I can show a guy like Marcel, and he's like, his jaw drops. Like, what the fuck? And in that moment, we're not going like, what did Brian do wrong to fucking make this happen? Right? Like in the dissecting of what could have been better, we're like you went and said, do I fucking check this machine? Do I do all that? Like, no, you got to do a job. You do a job. It's QC's problem. My frustration is where I fall in between Sugar and QC. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm not giving enough knowledge by the time it gets to QC, and then just like say Marcel's doing something, go, holy shit, this whole fucking header was never welded, right? Like, who's responsible for that? And then he might come to me and go, Jay, what the and I'll just go, I never even looked. Like, it's not. But unfortunately, because I saw all these things and I'm fucking get hyper vigilant, or I think of this, I'm obsessed about this problem that I shouldn't. As soon as I saw it, I started looking at other shit, and I see it, and I was just like, well, I'm not fucking fixing that. I'm not fixing that. I could be looking at Marcel just like I'm looking at you, and with the thoughts of, I'm not fixing that. But then I was like, well, by saying that, I'm saying you're fixing that.
Yeah, basically.
Right? And then I'm looking at a guy who's like fucking exhausted with all these other fucking problems. And now I'm being just like, well, listen, man, you deal with it. Or I could just be a good guy and just say, you know what? I want to get this truck finished for everybody. You notice it. You know what you're going to notice even more? That I did it. Right? Like with minor bitching.
For sure.
Right? And then that I get the fucking positive of that.
Yeah.
I get even more threat. I can concentrate on how it got to be like that. I can go and say, and I don't know how much of this is because we are who we are. Just like, fucking Brian, let this guy get away with nothing.
Yeah.
But not just because I'm your friend. It's just like, I also know like Brian's just fucking here to stop people from drinking, fucking like the place guys are on fire, all these other things. This guy says he finished the fucking side pack. Let's put it on the skid. Let's get it outside.
Yeah.
I can internalize it, go, this guy got in trouble for being too slow. This guy sees the other guy finishing it in a certain amount of time. So this guy doesn't fucking, he rushes to get the job done and misses things.
Mm-hmm.
And also he goes and gets high at lunch and doesn't double check his own work. And then, so that's how it gets done. It's all innocent. Really, it's not. There's lots of people to blame, but those are innocent where it comes to, there's no nefariousness.
No.
It's the individual. And then I could get mad at like, well, and I did. So I'm like, this guy gets fixed. This guy needs to come in the next day and see what a fucking horrible job he did. I'm talking to you and I'm yelling like, this sucks. You know what I mean? I'm yelling and you go, he's not here today. Like, wow. And so I know that he's never going to see it.
Yeah.
Like I could have done that whole job and left everything that he left with the intention that you and Marcel and whatever, fucking shut the plant down. Get this guy over here to show him what he missed. This is the only way that he's going to get to see like what he fucking didn't do. And then he doesn't show up. And so I'm like, fuck, well, I need to move forward. I can't just put this whole job aside, right? Like we can't make this point like done, right? Like the world's still turning. Okay, fuck. So I got to do
your
it.
other skid is right there.
That, you know
like,
what? We got another
doing?
fucking job. You know what I mean? And like, yeah. So like the faster I finish this, the better I can move on. And so I just suck it up. But internally, I'm furious with the company for not doing the right thing, whatever that is, taking pictures of it and doing whatever. And so I just like, fuck. And so I'm even in my own head then. I was like, I decided what I wasn't going to fix in the finish of it. Like he still left screws in some of the stupid fucking things.
So annoying.
And so I'm like, I don't have to do that. I can actively ignore that. There's some other wells that weren't on. I can actively ignore that. But like, so the header, this is like not, so one part I was going to actively ignore as well. But then I had to weld something real close to that. And I go, well, now I'm just staring at it. Like if my boss, like Marcel's going to know that I purposely left this. Like, and now I don't want it to negatively, yeah. God damn. And he's going to go, well, I wouldn't have done it either. But instead, I'm just like, oh, Jay, you know what he does? He's come to me like the last 3 trucks I've done, he's purposely come to me, go, hey, man, you know what? That was so clean. I know you knew, you know what I mean? Like you did something extra to make that clean. I go, Marcel, I mean, I want to make it easier, not as hard. I know how hard it is. He's like, thanks.
And see, that's what I would love to have on my shift. To have people like Jay who want to make the life easier, not like Johnny who wants to make everybody's life harder. You know
I think there's some jealousy in that.
Maybe, yeah.
No, I mean
Jordan Sugar just wants to make everybody's life harder. And like it's like, but why? Like what do you get out of that? You just told us that you get more out of making Marcel's life easier than it is making it harder. So why do people want to do the opposite? That's the messed up part about it. I kind of take personal offense to that. I feel like you're just being a dick. And like I can be an asshole sometimes, but there's just certain, I feel like I can be like an asshole. I could be a dick in certain moments, but there's just certain things I just wouldn't do. It doesn't even cross my mind to do. I don't understand those kind of people.
Yeah, but how many people do you understand in general?
Probably at least maybe 2%.
Yeah, there you
the
go.
People I know.
There you go. So far so good.
I know.
Like how many? Like it was again the South Park thing. Out of all the TV I want to talk about, like again, South Park is banging it this year. Yep. Your boys are probably going to talk about it tomorrow or this weekend when you talk to them, at least some of it. But like who out there isn't trying to portray themselves as a victim, right? Like the whole part of the whole Chris Rock thing. You know what I mean? Like part of your frustration is like, you know, the bitch was like he sounded too much like a victim and wasn't as his best comedic fucking thing. His thing was selective outrage and Will Smith acting like a victim, Jada acting like a victim. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Putting all their information out there and like, woe is me. And so he's acting like a victim. Like these drawings are good enough. Yeah. You don't play that. Like I don't play, like nobody really likes that, but that's the way almost everybody works like now. Like the whole South Park thing is like Meghan Markle, like I'm a victim. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like don't look at like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
No, and it was part of even the whole Chris Rock thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, whatever. Like
Meghan Markle, you're rich who married into mega rich and you're still a victim.
You are part of the royal family who invented racism. Like you did not think of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And again, we'll butcher the Chris Rock stuff all day long, but just like try to be the white girl going to the black family. Yeah. You know it, what it's real. And you go, well, that's not quite it. Okay, well, don't ruin the fucking joke.
Don't ruin the
joke. Stop bringing reality into fucking fantasy. And like as a white person, I can see, oh, that's probably hilarious. Seen enough movies how that's good. That whole you people fucking thing. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like no matter how hard Jonah Hill tried, he was never going to get Eddie Murphy's respect. it was only after how many years and his fucking buddy listened to his podcast. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey man, why are you so fucking hard on this guy?
Yeah.
Yo, you was doing cocaine. Well, hey, man, we've done our fucking fair share and all that kind of stuff. And you know what I mean? And so it's only like time people can stop being themselves, but then have no other choice. These other people, Jordan's nothing but a victim in this case. And it's the lack of being I want to just keep saying like being a man, but it's a human, like a reliable person, like not to even jump more other things, but this same person who you wishing would act more respectful to you has never given anybody else the respect, has written all this shit down about Booby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when Tammy hears this shit, it's just like, what? Like how, you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't click. Like it's just, that's like, you're never going to get through to a person like that. And so it's admirable, but it's a fool. If you keep trying to do this for too long, if you keep trying to hang your own, what people think of you on what other people do for too long, you're going to go crazy. Like this is, again, why you would leave here, because it's not going to happen here like this. Like even if you get the Johnnies and me and do that, all they're going to do is ask more of you. And then you're going to get frustrated by all of that, right? And then you just have to either deal with it or don't. And you'd have to be comfortable in the knowledge, just like, hey, nobody else was good enough to step up to this job. Nobody else is like, even as like whatever, like Marcel wouldn't do it at night. So, oh yeah, sure, it's easy to keep doing it during the day and doing all that, right? And so, like, without you and Marcel, we would get on, but you're almost becoming invaluable to them. Just like, you know what I mean? Like Danny, when he's gone, you realize how bad he is.
Man.
Okay, but just imagine you gone. Okay, like Danny's got all the years I have with way more respect. With like way more, you know what I mean? Like he'll go above and beyond. He stays there till fucking 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
He moves all that shit around. Like when he's gone, it's just like, wow, look at how much this guy does.
How much shit I had to cut this week?
Okay, so, but like they knew they could count on you to do it because again, they don't have you doing the bodies.
I should become more unreliable.
But that's not who you are.
No,
That's what you like to fucking hold your hat on. Is that I want my word to be my bond. And all your word is I'm going to try. You never promised that you're going to get like 80 hours out of 80 hours of physical work. It's impossible. Like it's a fool's there. The things that you get upset about, on one hand, like they don't think about like that. Like, you know what I mean? They don't hold you that responsibility. Like if you think that's why Mandy was like go over that, it's nothing. It was just like, it was that, but it was a total different conversation. It was a whole different scenario. You, if you think about it, I'm getting too far. But just think like if you weren't there, like Danny. Just think if you hurt yourself, right? Like never. We can go on about who watched you get hurt and all the other fucking like rumor mills that we make more podcasts about.
Oh man!
But and I'm not teasing people, sorry. But just think of how much you do for them if you weren't there. If you weren't there, do you think? Okay, first of all, is there any chance there's a thought that, oh, this is going to get done better?
No.
Where is that? Where is that? Can that thought ever happen? Like if Ali decided to go on nights, how long would it take for them to be super satisfied in your mind compared to what you do? Do you think that would actually happen?
I don't know.
Okay,
Never thought about it like that.
Sit on it for a second, because that's why it's in my mind. That's why I get angry at you for thinking of that, because it's not that I want you to think because I'm your friend to do that. It's just like it's an irrational thought, right? Like just like Danny feels underappreciated and could sit in a meeting and go, oh yeah, they think they want my input, but I give it to them. You put yourself in a position to have your input heard all the time. So that means you're going to get ignored all the time, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's just the choices that you've made because all the Chiefs, you know what I mean? Like you said, like, and one of the things that we didn't get to the point of the fucking theme of the show is that you, what I told you in the missing episode is that, you got to stop having you and Marcel trying to get things done and turning it into a we problem. And you stop thinking that Marcel has this whole support team in front of, like, with him during the day, and realize you have that same support team. Just like I bring up, you can fire the guy or tell the guy to go home for drinking. You can tell the guy to go home for bad behavior, and you're going to be backed up. You might be like, oh, well, shit, I'm not Ryan. I can't do that. But no, I'm telling you, like, think about it in the drinking. Like, they're going to trust that you were right.
That's true.
And and then you've come to the position just like you're frustrated with this Aaron guy, and they're frustrated with this Jordan guy. And just to simplify it, you're defending Jordan because of what Aaron's doing, and Marcel's defending Aaron because of what Jordan's doing, and you guys are butting heads about it when like 2 years ago you guys were working simpatico, and he should have your back. He should listen to you and not his guy. And I was trying to say, but you also realize that he was QCing this job. He also has these expectations, you know what I mean? They're going on,
sure.
or I know he doesn't take it on as much as you. You know what I mean? Like if this job gets done before, it's like it is what it is. He misses way more time than you. Like he's not as dedicated as you. And if you don't think that shows in everything you're doing now, it's the same. Like he's like, and that's why it's hard for me to hear you say that stuff. And that's why I think you were more confident in what happened, because you were trying to say how shit this week was.
Mhm.
So this week didn't get any better with the people that you're dealing with.
No.
But what was better, maybe, like you say, is that you let your bosses deal with it more than you had to deal or tried to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And at first you like brush back and go, well, isn't it my responsibility? And I'm like, well, if you think Marcel has this support team, and just like we've already gone on about, you can do it here, you can do it. You are a voice. And then actually make these other people do their job. The only way you show them that there's an issue is by telling them there's an issue.
True.
And I don't know how you want to get to how it got to these grievance reports. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's like the end of the thing, but like why was your week so shit?
Oh man, we don't have the time to get into why the entire week was a shit, but the gist of it was that we had this whole issue. We definitely talked about this on the show before between Sugar and Aaron. And he just wasn't completing bodies. He did the same thing to me. He did the same thing to Booby. And it ended up coming ahead this week when it was like after Marcel's shift, and I thought he was gone. And I was like walking, and then these guys called me and they said, look at this shit. And it was like, I think I told you, it was like half the weld done on like a seam, like an actual like header that was supposed to be welded together. And then that was sanded like it was complete. It wasn't like you completed the full weld and then sanded it. You literally you made an effort to stop.
It was
right?
selfish.
Yes. And so these guys were looking at me like, look at this shit. This is what we have to do. They did it on, and he did it on every seam. He didn't do it on just one, the door or nothing. He did it on all of them. And so at that moment, I'm like now it's like all that we've talked about. It's like, these guys are complaining to me, and now they're looking at the person who leads the shift as, what are you gonna do about it? Like, do we respect this guy or do we not respect this guy? Like, what do we do? And it's also like now there's people there that I could just pawn it off to, but in my mind at that moment, Marcel wasn't there, so I'm like, now do I do this even when he's not here? And then it looks like I did it behind his back. So I just brought it up to Nicole, and as I called Nicole, Marcel was walking out the change room, so he was still here, and so he was already punched out too, and I just called him over too, and then we ended up having this whole conversation about the handoff, the half an hour handoff, because we start a half an hour before the day shift leaves, not including Jay, and and my half an hour with Jay is after the half hour, yeah, and so. Now it's like we're basically writing these reports of my shift's grievance with the day shift and vice versa.
Well, that came about because of this scenario you're talking about.
Yeah, so this is what the outcome was. On top of that, Marcel and I now, me and Marcel completely agree, we don't want to do this at all, but we have no choice because we were told by Ryan, so it's like whatever. We have to go with people who are taking over other bodies and stand there while they have a conversation of the takeover. Yeah. So now it adds even more shit that we have to do. Like, I'd rather spend my time talking to people, but whatever. Now I have to spend my time standing there like an idiot. But it does make sense, and it could, and Ryan said this could change that. This could fix those problems that you're having. Because Marcel was saying during the conversation that, well, why don't they just go talk to Aaron then? Or why doesn't he talk to this person?
And he even said it in the way that, why don't you even go talk to Aaron?
Yeah.
And you said, why don't he go talk to Jordan?
Yeah. But now that there's this disdain between Aaron and Jordan, I said in the meeting, like, this would not go well. If we told Aaron and Jordan to go talk to each other and talk about the handoffs, they're just going to end up fighting. They're going to end up, something's going to end up happening. It's not this cordial.
It won't do what you want it to do.
So
It'll get worse.
That's the fact that adds more work on us. I mean, that's kind of fucking annoying, to be honest.
True, and no doubt. And it,
but maybe it'll alleviate a lot of the issues that we do have.
so you got to also hear in that conversation you just said is just like you were in a brainstorming thing with you and the rest of the fucking Chiefs, and you heard something that you know won't work, so you said it. Your knowledge affected the procedures.
Yeah,
like you might
for the worse. Now I gotta
Well,
stand and
how dare you?
babysit. Now
What's
I gotta
the worst?
babysit.
So yeah, but if this, okay, well, what else would you want?
I don't know.
You want it to fix itself by itself, probably.
That would have been the easiest.
Yeah, well, good.
course.
Then you get your 7-year itch and you go to try to find that at the fucking hay baling company or mushroom factory or whatever the fuck you do next. And then good luck to you because it'll all be fucking the same. And so
digging ditches. Forgot that.
look at that,
one.
digging it on Mars. You fucking abandon your family. You just give it all up. I thought you weren't a quitter. You're gonna quit Earth.
Damn it,
You're gonna
Jake.
quit Earth. How dare you?
Damn it.
So this is there's many things right there. So first of all, your opinion was heard and done, and like so out of that came okay. Well, can't do that. Well, what else we can do? Well, you know, and what we talked about in the missing episode, and maybe before it was just like it stuck that you and Marcel were butting heads about this, and I told you that it's because you're better at you've managed people in 3 different companies, and he's just managing people in this one company, and it's hard for him to see and all this other shit. So it's more miscommunication. The drawings are miscommunicated. The fucking meetings are all these things. And so it's all part of this mass miscommunication. And so the only other way is to have these gay fucking meetings, which I would not want anything to do with, which you've invited yourself. So then you had one of these gay meetings and you say, okay, you can't have that. Okay, well, what else can we do? Okay, well, you know what? It might sound the most preschoolish thing to ever, but you as a grown man have to watch these other 2 grown men fucking talk. And that's ultimately on the hierarchy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's because we don't have enough laminated fucking things to pass over to each other.
Yeah.
If it ever gets to that point, I won't be there. You know what I mean? Like that's not why I like the whole custom aspect of this.
Yep.
The reason why I came back is just like I get to work either 40 or 80 hours all by myself. The less I get, the more that's added to me. I can either just say, well, you know what I mean? Like it is what it is, or I get it and deal with it, right? But the more I concentrate, I don't want to be in the laminated world. But that's obviously what's happening. That's what's going to come. Like no matter any kind of growth comes more laminate, all right, or more things. But you're the perfect person to come in there. You're also younger than Marcel. Marcel is definitely more set in his ways, just like me. So he's going to be harder to get in that. And let's just say he concentrates less on results and more on people. And that means his people and not your people. And that means like, well, that's fine. You're sucking up to this AA but how are we going to get these jobs done more? And in the missing episode, I told you you are admirably taking way too much on yourself. Put it on more on them. Put it on like fucking not even getting the safety part. Like put it on more on these like your boss and have this meeting say, Ryan, I don't like the way this is going. I want to say this to this guy. Is it okay? And this is what we brought up. It's like you felt more empowered that way. You saw that. And so that has to like make you feel good, like you've already said. But then with this whole meeting, it's just like it might not be forever that you have this like these little powwows.
Yeah.
But it's you obviously in my mind, because I'm not doing it, it seems obvious, right? Because we don't have a laminate of what should have been done for this 9 hours. Because it's still all custom. We don't know because Danny wasn't here and some other guy had to cut the fucking pieces and they were, you know what I mean? Like whatever it is. And so it's all like, hey, because of this, it doesn't matter why. Ultimately, it's all because why is this not as done as fast as it was? Or why is only half of this done?
Yeah.
So you can look at this thing and stand and just say, hey, Aaron, defend yourself on why. When he's not there to defend himself, we get to have a podcast and just rip him.
Yeah.
But that's not fair for him.
No,
that's
it's
why we
not.
invited all of them to come over to the Heartless Studios
Yep.
and fucking come in here and defend themselves. And I won't be here. I don't want to hear them. But I'm not going to listen to that. I hope that's a fucking lost episode.
Oh my God.
Oh, sorry, guys. And so then he gets to say it. And then all of a sudden he might say something that might make sense to you. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, I thought because when you put the top on, blah, blah, blah. And then you can say, listen, man, like that's definitely not it. It's real frustrating for that. And then because you're there and him, at first it happens with Ryan and Nicole there. So they're not going to say shit. Right. And then you or him are there. And then they realize that now you have the teeth. You've always had the teeth that you don't think you have. And now a little bit this week, they reinforced that for you.
Yeah.
And you saw it and then say, okay, this isn't the best. But you know what? I'd rather this half hour together and this conversation about that is going to save me hours later. Right? Like maybe at 9 o'clock, Jordan's going to go, you know what? I wanted to say this at 3. And I was like, well, fucking say it next time.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever you say to him. Just say, yeah, I agreed, but I didn't want to say it either. Or however you deal with your guy.
Okay.
That becomes different. But don't ever think, like, failure is not an option. Like, if you feel you failed, it's just in your head. It's just like I failed at my diet or failed at, you know what I mean? Like, whatever it is. But everything you're doing is more admirable than, you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad you realize you have the teeth that you have. And take, like I said, like that's a resolution, or like you're not negative about this whole changeover thing now.
No, I just feel like.
Or
it's
tell
just
me why
more,
you would be negative.
I just feel like it's just more shit that I have to do that I didn't want to do. I already deal with enough shit. Plus, that's gonna cut into my talking time, and that's kind of annoying. Like
it has.
Yesterday,
I haven't seen you for ages.
This whole week, I didn't even see you talking. I didn't get to talk to you till like. What, 4 o'clock?
Oh man, today, it was almost 5:30 one time.
It was 5:30. It's like, what the hell? Like,
I figured you had to do some of fucking Danny's cutting, but I don't know, man. I just think that like any progress is better than no progress.
Mm-hmm.
Both in how you approach it and how you feel, how you're responsible for it, and maybe both in like an idea that you didn't come up with, like this whole like changeover thing, that just embracing it and having it, you know what I mean? Like be a way to put it on somebody else's plate. You know what I mean? Like I talked about, it's like, it's not a you problem. It's not a Marcel problem. It's a we problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that involves the people that are paid above you.
Yeah.
Right. And then just go. And the more, for a guy who likes to talk, or the frustration part is it's all of it is like a lack of communication.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why they have to talk to each other. They have to explain why they didn't get what they thought that was going to get done.
Mm-hmm.
You, unfortunately, your shift never has the ability to tell the day shift at the beginning of a shift why it's like that when they come in.
Yeah.
And that's why they're always going to just be assumptions, which kind of sucks. And so whatever they try to tell you, that, so you have this meeting and then Aaron goes, yeah, well, when I came in, blah, 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 blah. And then you're going to go, because it won't be there like that. Like you're going to say, hey, Ryan, look at this. And they're going to be like, well, you didn't see whatever, right?
Which is the good part about Marcel, and the frustrating part about Marcel is that when I say something to him about their shift, he's just like, yeah, well, you know, that's how they do it. I don't, like he said many times, I don't care as long as it gets done and it looks fine at the end or whatever. I know he's going to take that same stance when they come to him about our shift. It's not like he's changing and being different on it. He's just the same. When they give shit to him, he doesn't really bring it up to me like in any sort of way. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing that he's doing with that we were frustrated about.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the gift and the curse when it comes to him. But how do you resolve that? Well, it's resolved because now we have this whole grievance shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's like as retarded as that thing it is. But what else would you want?
I would want.
So
just
now
to
what?
Be like,
so what that means? So
I would
explain
want,
that to the
what
people.
I would want, the grievance.
Yeah.
We have to do reports of like what grievances each shift has with the other shift. Then
So
we
you-
have to fucking discuss it.
So you
and
can
fix
write it down, and
Yeah.
the people above you can
No,
have it in
It's
writing.
me and Marcel.
Well, ultimately, yeah, because that's what
I
they're putting
think they're
on.
gonna get a copy for sure. But like, yeah, it's.
But
us
like I
too.
told you, that's ultimately like how you have to put it on their plate. Like it's the same as you like whatever. Like
we can blame it on them because listen, because of you guys. Now look what we have. No, I'm joking. Look what you guys cost us.
I would rather fuck like anything you can do to fucking deflect these people's fucking unreal expectations and put it on the people that are ultimately responsible for it.
Yeah.
Like I said, is the best thing you can. And anything you're doing is so. It's not just me. It's like it's just appreciated. Like any negative thoughts you have are what negative thoughts, and you would just trade them with other negative thoughts maybe and do all that. But like just it's growth, man. It's just, and I can already tell the people would have too if they didn't hear the Mr. episode.
Yeah.
Is that
What?
there's
Huh?
growth already in what you've already had to deal with Marcel.
Yeah.
Like, and part of it is like, again, this grievance report. Part of it is these meetings, and just like it was all, you know what I mean? Like it's just all part of that. And so I don't see how you shouldn't look at yourself in more of an appreciated way. But I'm just happy again that it's not as sad as it was last time.
No, I think it's
Last time
better.
you were fucking looking at another place to work, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
It was crossing your head. It's like,
did
this might
cross
not be the.
No, I said, how long till this CN place is built?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Well,
But,
you're ready to
you
move.
know,
I want a hard
I
pivot.
like it here.
Can I hard pivot?
You can hard pivot.
All right, because there's more things going on than you and your stupid work problems.
Thank
right?
God.
And we already fucking gave my Lego part. Are you watching any TV?
Am
Are
I
you watching nothing?
any
Are you watching
TV?
Last of Us? Have you finished Last of Us yet?
Last of Us, we're on the
last of
second,
The Last of Us?
We're about to watch the last episode. Yeah,
The
probably
second to last
tomorrow.
or the last?
The last.
All right. Well, I'm 100% want to talk about it next week. I want to even talk about, in a way, to make a grander topic next week of how
Okay.
civilization ever gets back
Yeah,
from an apocalypse.
and it'll be great after the ending. So
And you've played the game, right? Or
I
do you know the
played
game?
First game, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, like I got fresh eyes because I didn't get to compare it to the game.
Yeah.
I only compared it to like Walking Dead or other like zombie stuff.
It actually seems like a more comparison to Walking Dead, but yeah.
Well, knowing what I know now, only like from reading like the reviews and the reviews comparison to the video games,
Mhm.
like it's the best thing to straddle video game adaptation for than anything else.
Mhm.
And it in a way that the game was more of a outlier
Yeah.
than other, you know what I mean? Like the moral choices and the you know what I mean? Like the game was almost set up to be a movie.
I'm actually planning to replay that
Nice.
game because it came out on PC. I never played it on PC before, so
Nice. I'm really I really like it a lot. It's the acting's pretty decent. I do so. I mean, just like I don't know, it's not to do with the game, but some of the early episodes is they have these like kind of one-off episodes that kind of like develop the characters
Yeah.
like more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you understand them, and like from the game they take like non-role playing game players and make the like behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like stories behind them. So all of that was like kind of cool. Like in the first season, Walking Dead kind of way, it's just like the ultimate survival part of it. You know what I mean? It's so appealing.
Mhm.
And what I want to make a totally maybe a whole non-work related all next week if this one gets out.
Yeah.
Yeah, is talk about like how society could ever evolve from these like tribal situations.
For sure.
Right? And if you even watch the second to last one, you saw that like one of the groups of people they walked into had like a big religious background to it. Like
Yeah.
the leader had this, you know what I mean? Like
Eating people. Great.
used a way, use these words like and the power that they possess to control his little mini resort of, you know what I mean? Like ultimately it was only like less than 100 people compared to how the world is. But through their travels, you know what I mean? Like the people that overturned Fedra
Yeah.
and these fireflies and this different type, like how do they ever get along? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like I'm just like however like North American tribes, whoever we just think of them as North America, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
indigenous people, right? And like the Africans, all these tribes, like they're all individuals. We can compartmentalize and we just think, oh yeah, like Neanderthals and society and the wheel and then this and then now we're here. Like as fucked up as everything is and as maybe too organized that it is, and then like COVID comes around and we get compliant
Yeah.
and then the advantages that take over that are like so fucking global, like it's so grand compared to like getting out of Boston.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I mean? Like and
Right.
like and like
It's
the 10
crazy.
tribes that all think differently,
Yeah.
right? And then you throw in this God shit, right? And these fucking people, you know what I mean? And there's these Buddhists and God, who Jesus? What? We've been living for 10,000 years, okay, over here.
Yeah.
We don't need your Jesus. No, I'm telling you, Jesus is the way. And like, how does like? I mean, it's so complicated, and I know it's still that complicated.
It's still.
But really, we're like so fucking global.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we're just due to fucking get like that meteor to knock us all back or whatever, but I'm not scared of it. It's just a fucking, it's a high thought.
Yeah.
It just trips me out
Yeah.
watching this, like, and like I didn't think of this in The Walking Dead, but for some reason I thought of it
On
in
this
The Last
one?
of Us.
Yeah.
It's just like everybody's so tribal.
Yeah.
Maybe because the violent nature of it.
Well, I mean, I feel like humans are inherently tribal.
Yeah, but don't you think we fight all those things? Like, for a just society, we have to. Maybe
I think
have to
the
fight those
tribes
thoughts.
work together. Like it's crazy because like even when you go to like a workplace or anything like that, people start to form these
I see what you're
tribes,
saying, yeah.
right? And yeah, we're all doing it for the greater good of the world or the greater good of the company, but everybody still has these little tribes going on, and it's like naturally I think we just gravitate towards that kind of stuff. But that is a topic for next week.
Okay, well, yeah, we're making it this week. Yeah, so we'll talk. Okay, yeah, we'll bring that into
topic for
last
next week.
Okay,
you know what I did start watching though?
What?
1923.
So I would have to rewatch the first one. I watched the first one once.
Yep.
And it didn't grab me.
Uh-huh.
So what do you think? Have you watched? How much have you watched?
I think we're like 4 or 5 episodes in.
So it grabbed you?
Yeah. The first one was
the first one was Harrison Ford, and then the fucking Scottish sheep farmer.
Yeah.
Like went all the way up the mountain to fucking steal the grass or whatever. And I just wasn't. The pretty girl from 1883 was the narrator.
Yep. She's
so I was just okay. That maybe I'll be interested in that
throughout. But sorry. But the story does come together rather quickly, probably within the first 3 episodes. I would say first 2, but 3 to give it some leeway. And it starts now. Things are starting to make sense a lot more, right? It's starting to come together.
I won't throw it out yet, but it like I said, didn't draw me back.
Yeah.
For a little bit there, we were looking for some kind of shit to watch. I still watch The Accused. It's still networky, but again, this past week's one,
good.
Dude, so they compared it to like the situation where like the Sandy Hook shooter deniers.
Okay.
Like you were talking about the Alex Jones shit or whatever.
Yeah.
They had like it was fucked up.
Yeah.
Like the problem about that show is like it's not a happy, like it was pretty, and it is networky, so it's not the thing, but like not in a way that like I thought maybe like the deaf girl had a right, or this was just like a no-win. I think the whole show is like a no-win situation.
Yeah, almost every episode's like
this was so it was like a dramatization of the Sandy Hook situation.
Okay.
And if you had your kid killed in Sandy Hook and had Alex Jones screaming in your face, that you're fake.
Yeah.
You have actors. You're fucking crazy. They're taking our guns and all this rhetoric. You know what I mean? Like but again, I'm compliant. I'm Canadian. I'm socialist. Like whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm not Joe Rogan here who wants to move to Texas to fight for my right.
Yeah.
With my billions of dollars in the bank to do that. So I'm all in on that. What's I gonna fucking say? But reality shows has come back into my face.
Yes.
This one I know you haven't watched because there's the challenge is back on the Paramount.
Okay.
Like it's the world one.
The world one.
Okay, I know it's got like the CBS people, but it has legends on it. Like Johnny's on it, Wes is on it,
but
Jordan's on it.
Is it challenging?
Yes. Okay, give it a little bit of thrift. It's more challenging than the CBS one was.
Okay.
All right. Like TJ's wouldn't involve himself if it wasn't. All right. Like it's
so
interesting enough. It's better than nothing.
Okay.
All right. Like watch it and then criticize it.
Okay.
All right. Don't not watch it I don't care, but
for sure.
I'll take it better than the other ones. I was surprised to see them. I thought it wasn't going to be them. I thought I watched the stupid Australian one and the UK one, and it was just like a shell of what the challenge really is. And this one kind of is too, but okay, so imagine like a jury, they're not jury like judging, but like, not to spoil it, but the world people have to do a challenge to get to pick their legends that they have as their partner. So if you want Jordan as your partner, you got to win.
Is Jordan on the show?
Jordan's on the show. Johnny's on the show. Wes is on the show.
How the hell do they do so many of those in a year?
I don't know,
it's
but they're
brutal,
getting paid.
Man. It's brutal,
starting. Yeah,
though.
but this is their job.
I know.
They don't do nothing else.
It's like
they're fucking. Johnny's not even good at podcasting.
I know.
Okay,
right?
we blow him away.
I know, right? But like, imagine your bodies after doing a season of that.
Fuck you. They're fucking got nothing better to do than fuck. I don't like because every morning when they do their confessionals. Right, and you see them, they got their workout gear.
They still say, "Oh, I'm so sore."
Yeah, go fuck yourself. They're 28 years old. I mean, again, Johnny, they're 40. They still got 15 fucking years on some of these people.
Yeah.
And I have worked for a living for my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, like good fucking luck.
You want to do the challenge? You're saying?
No, I'm saying they get to fucking. They have no choice but to work out in the morning. Their whole lives that they've been keeping themselves in shape.
Mm-hmm.
I'll even bring it down to Horatio. Like he's a soccer player. He's never been fat, never been out of shape. Working out every day has been a part of his life. If now and all he ever does is be on the challenge, part of being on the challenge is going to go get drunk at night, and then we get up and we fucking work out all day. They all work out all day long.
Yeah.
Right? Like until they get to the challenges. It's no more just getting drunk and being fat. There's not a fucking fat person on the challenge anymore.
I know, especially now that
Anissa's not there?
No. I was talking about Josh, but okay.
Anissa's a little bit chubby. Anyway, and so no, man, these fucking people do nothing but like fucking work out. Like the same thing with Big Brother. There's a couple of chubby people. Always Big Brother has like not everybody's pretty, right? Like they're not always in shape more than others. Like a show like The Challenge.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you'll see like again because these people have these workout routines that the fat people have nothing else to do, but they'll start working out.
Start working with them.
Yeah, and they'll get into a whole different routine.
So you've been watching Big Brother?
I have been watching, but have you watched them?
No, I've watched the first weeks, right?
It's fucking. I'm happy it's back.
I'm gonna watch this week. Did you know the guy from Milton, Tim from our work, his son is friends with that guy?
I did not know that.
Apparently. Good friends, apparently.
I guess they'd probably be the same age.
Yeah.
Again, you think of that guy, and he's only 23.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's so young, even to a fucking guy like you.
I'm like, shit.
Tammy keeps saying she thinks he's familiar. And that's why I keep saying, how the fuck would you know a 23-year-old from, where would you know?
Maybe you just saw him.
He works somewhere.
Maybe he works at
the Superstore or something.
Oh my God, maybe he does work at the Superstore. Because that guy kind of looks like this guy who used to work at the Superstore with dreads, and then the guy cut his dreads after.
And he's got braids. His hair's totally been the same.
Yeah.
All right. Well, she keeps saying that. I just think he's got that kind of
look.
Yeah, like that person. He's just like, I mean, I don't know how anybody could be this way. Again, he's like ripped. He works out. He's got be so fucking positive. He's like, again, it can be so annoying, but he's just like hyped. Yeah. Hyped about too many people.
To be honest, I don't like him. I don't know who I like on the show yet.
Yeah, I know who I don't like easier than I hate. That I do like. The fucking Zach guy. The guy, the self-proclaimed the businessman. The guy who kept telling fucking the girl what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, he was annoying the fuck out of Tammy, all kinds.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who kind of orchestrated whatever happened. He told her to fucking. Oh, you haven't seen anything. Spoiling it. He was orchestrating on who she should put up.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much you've not seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
How can I talk about it? So dare you?
Okay,
You've seen it by the time we'll stop.
Okay.
But I am enjoying the fact that it's the Canadian one.
Yeah.
There's a definitely difference. If I had to think about it again, like the American one was a little bit disappointing last year, and the Canadian one was banging. I know you've watched some of this one this year, so they had that whole dead last wrinkle to the whole thing, where you automatically voted right to come in. I liked that when they did it, but I'm interested to see. It's weird. People's my rooting interest usually changes in how I watch them play.
Yeah,
I can't see somebody. It's hard for somebody to stay consistent for very long. I think which some people are coming out hot, some people are coming out like easily manipulated.
Yeah,
some people are coming out delusional, and I don't know. I think it's too early. I think I'm just enjoying it happen.
Yeah.
I think because we were so big, we're such big fans that it's hard. It's almost like you and your stupid work related problems. It's like we know what the game should be and what it's going to turn into, but we can't expect them to do that like day one and day two. And the people that try to do that too early, we call it. Oh, that person's playing too hard.
Yeah, he's a try hard.
That's almost what you're doing a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you're almost like. In your first 2 weeks of Big Brother, like you got to find your spot.
Yeah.
So I do kind of like it like that. Yeah. Like I'm digging it. I'm happy it's back. You don't watch Survivor. I'm fucking super stoked that Survivor's back.
Mm-hmm.
So those fucking reality things, but not much else. Oh, and then South Park.
And South Park.
Yeah. Everybody should be watching fucking South Park
on Paramount Plus.
Again, you got any other TV shit?
No.
One last hard pivot. Like I got more.
Sure.
We'll keep our fucking our itineraries are ever growing.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk maybe some fucking COVID shit and some fucking like lab leak thing and all that, but I really don't know what I'm talking about. I did hear this kind of fucked up thing about like foreigners being able to buy houses in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know. I don't think about something like that very often, but like real estate's crazy in Canada, right?
It's
like
nuts.
I've always thought of it in this way. Never cared much about Toronto or this and that, but thought about like, not to fucking put the Chinese on blast, but like a lot of like Chinese foreigners were buying property in Vancouver,
Yeah.
right? Or something to that effect.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a Canadian problem exclusively. Like I think it happens in New York maybe or other places, but a lot of foreign interest, I guess, were buying real estate, driving the price up, and advocacy groups of like Canadians or just citizens were aware of this, and we're bringing it up in a way for the government can stop it, because it's stopping average, you know what I mean? Like Canadians, like free market is free market or what, but how do we stop this?
Yeah.
Like, how do we stop when real estate becomes just an investment thing? Like you and I, we need houses. Everybody listening like needs a house, but and I'm lucky, you know what I mean? Like it's also our house and it's like an investment type of thing, right? And or if you are buying a house, you don't want it to be throwing your money away.
Yeah.
In a way, if you're just renting, no matter what you're doing, you're just throwing your money away.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever mortgage you have, it's the better than renting type of thought. But if like these,
that's the mentality, yeah.
But it's well, that's why people want to buy. Like one of the things that people want to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
It's the incentive for whatever reasons, like owning something or whatever the fucking thing is. But if the natural free market makes a house what it is, and if we're just lucky that Milton becomes a hot bed of fucking real estate, we didn't know that buying it. You know what I mean? Like,
but I know this is a kind of a hard. Sorry, I cut you off like mid speech. I saw this thing that said that people buying house thinking that they need to own house was an illusion created by the banks.
Yes, it's a hard. Well,
do you really need to buy a house? Realistically, all you need to do realistically is live in a house. You don't need to own a house, right? Do you really need to? Like, if you're really thinking about it?
In a way, well, I don't understand that. So if you're paying $2,000 a month to live somewhere,
yeah,
right? Like your mortgage and your rent are going to be the same.
Yeah, but you also miss the fact that down payments, the taxes, all the maintenance, it's way more expensive to own a house than it is to live a house.
Yes, but
right?
it's like your return on investment.
If there's a return on investment, the market could crash, you could die. You know what? The
banks just position themselves to be in the no lose situation with that.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I get it. I understand kind of what you said. I don't see it as the same as like the diamond industry creating how like artificial a price of a diamond might be.
Yeah,
because there's like no competition and they get to control the scarcity of it.
Yeah,
but you can't deny that if they're building houses, it's because people want to live there.
For sure.
Right? Like in a place like Detroit or Cleveland or whatever, where like industry left, like it's like your house all of a sudden, like you said, like with no fault of your own, your place becomes fucking devalued. Right? And the industry, like again, it's like a battleship turning around. It doesn't just happen, but not everybody can pick up and move and do anything. You're kind of just stuck where you are. And this is again part of being this fucking whatever, like socialist or this is I just see like the allowance of immigrants come, like it's just a growth, right? Like the reason why Milton's growing or getting, if our houses have value to them, is because the growth is like, it's still there. Like it's never, the potential is the desire, it's like the fucking supply and demand, right? And so, the bank just positions themselves to fucking be the beneficiary of whatever supply and demand happens.
But they did it since the beginning of the time, not since recently, right?
But it's just like a lawyer. Like the lawyer isn't in the business of saving your marriage. The lawyer makes money on both ends.
But the lawyer isn't selling you the illusion that he will save your marriage, right? The banks are selling you the illusion that, you have to, this is the American dream, right? That's the whole thing. The American dream. Buy a car, have a picket fence, have your kids, and do this. Is that the thing I read, and then I saw a video, and then I read it. It's like the banks only did it because they don't want to take the liability of owning property, because banks could buy houses and rent them out to people all they want, right? They rather you take the liability and they just take the interest, because it's like you said, it's a win-win situation for them. They don't care. They
just take your money and invest it.
Yeah, it was all marketing.
But they're always investing in something. Like the bank.
Of course, they
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Of course, they.
You're right, but that's like I said, like pick.
But But who says who really told us that you need to buy a house? People could rent a house their whole life, right? And then retire and go into old folks home, which a lot of people already do when they own a house. Or you could buy a house and die and never live in that house again, and the house just what happens to the house? How does that benefit you? Sure, it may go to your kids, maybe it'll go to your wife, maybe it'll go to you may be somebody's rich uncle, but who really said that you need to buy one?
It's but again, this isn't how I really live my life. You wouldn't know it, but it's having pride in ownership. Like, it's easy to say like the downfall of whatever that is.
Yeah.
But you do have to, like, that's why I compare it to renting. Like, you do have to exist in something. Like, yes, the banks are culpable for more than just this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But like, do you like to lease your car or buy your car?
Buy.
You understand why leasing is a good option too.
Yeah.
Why you like to buy your
For
car?
sure. I know a lot of
Why
people.
do you like to buy your car?
Just because I don't
You're
like
a control
payments.
freak.
I just don't like the payments of it.
You're in control
That's
freak.
really
You
the
want to be
thing.
able to decide. I don't think you would like the idea of after 4 years, okay, I just give this up with
But you
nothing
have
behind
the
it.
choice. And a lot of people, when you talk to people who lease the car, they're like, well, why would I buy a car when I can just give it up and not have to deal with the maintenance? 4 years is a pretty good
Oh, of course.
good space, and then cars pretty much nothing happens to them in the first 4 years, and I could just get a new one.
I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't know what the right one is.
Yeah.
But I know you like owning your cars.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, you know what I mean? It's the same way of like owning your house. It's like you feel more invested into it.
But the feeling of something, it doesn't necessarily make it the right something, right? It doesn't necessarily make it make sense. Sure, it may make sense for me or it may make sense for you, but realistically, it's like the whole iPhone, the Apple thing. Everybody gets not everybody. A lot of people I know you're not like this, get an iPhone and they feel this status type of thing. They feel this prestige. That's all just an illusion. Apple has marketed the iPhone to be this thing when realistically, there's not much different from any other phone or like a Chinese brand phone that we've never heard of, right? But you've just been marketed this thing and they feel like that's why celebrities have it. Like, that's why and and the thing is, a lot of celebrities rent houses, a lot of celebrities lease cars, and they could probably buy houses and they could they could buy cars, but some people, it's just the illusion of that has fallen short on them. It's the middle class that really only feels like they need to own certain things.
Well, this is why it's a control. Like, it's not a, like, it's weird. Like, I don't know 100% how to defend that position. It's, I see what you're saying, like how it's an artificially like designed concept and the banks are the one a beneficiary from it. But I really don't. Like, I don't, like, nobody wants to buy a house in a shitty neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, it's the desire to to be something greater. Like the idea of where like leasing a car is like, well, I'm going to pay this no matter what. I might as well move somewhere else. The idea of like back in the day of, yes, like like your grandchild inheriting this house. Your grandmother passed away and had a beautiful house in Ajax,
Mm-hmm.
and she didn't like and made it part of her thoughts. Having the fucking cocaine trunk in the bottom, and all these things that they're going to like discover after. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but like lots of people benefited from her owning that house.
Yeah.
It was a not just a status thing. It had real value, you know what I mean? Real world value to it
For
that
sure.
people benefited
A
from.
lot of people benefited from it, for sure. I agree.
And again, how shitty a house is, it's just a house. But some people, that's all they work for, is to pay that house.
And for sure, that's what they do. But at the end of the day, why are they doing that? They're not. I don't think anybody's. I don't think my grandma was getting this house just so she could pass her. Her kids were perfectly fine without her. Perfectly fine without her. None of my grandma's kids are poor or anything.
But none of the money she paid into her living quarters was for naught.
Yeah, but does it make a difference? Did it make a difference? It didn't. The house, it's not like the house was completely paid off, so she was still paying for it. So she really never benefited from it at all.
So I'm looking to be in a position where, like, I'm paying for a house, I'm working. I want to be in a spot that when I do sell my house, that I will probably not buy another house.
Yeah.
or I buy a house fully and like to sell. Like I do not want any more payments
Mhm.
once I finish this house. And yeah, it could be just luck. I mean, maybe that's the dream. I don't think it's the dream the banks are selling. That's a dream of worthwhileness, of accomplishment, of like doing something for a reason. Is that like I do want to have a life of like why I exercise or do whatever. It's just like I want to be able to walk and go on vacations and be in a position that I'm not tied to the ownership of this property.
Mhm.
And it's not just because of status, it's because it's more for comfortability. It's like
Mhm.
I want my money that I'm paying to go into my own bank. Like a renting thing is not just like I said, the banks are winning no matter what. Like I don't think it's as artificial as you're trying to say. I don't think it's a fool. So you think like owning a house is a fool's game?
No, I just think that people do it for the fact that I think we're conditioned. That's what I really
Maybe.
think. I think we're conditioned. I don't think there's really anything like I don't really think that it's a lot of the new generations. I think I mentioned this before, but I read an article like maybe a year or two ago that most of the new generations, they were doing surveys and stuff, and like what do they call those? Not surveys, like kind of like polls. What are those things called? Maybe there are
Survey.
surveys. I don't know. That most of
Questionnaire.
the new like young millennials and like the newer generation, what's the Gen X? Is that what they call them?
No, that's me. That's Alphabet City.
What's the next one? The one coming, yeah.
Gen Z.
Gen Z, they're not interested in buying houses. It's not part of they look at it like, why would I buy a house? Like why would I spend maybe okay, like especially nowadays, why would I spend $200,000 down payment to pay $4,000 a month and just to deal with all the maintenance and all the stuff? This is coming from mostly people who work in like, the tech field. So like you're in expensive areas, you're usually in like downtown areas and stuff, but none of them are looking at it like, I need to buy this house, I need to buy a property or anything like that. They're saying that we could buy this. I could put all this extra money. I could put this $200,000 in Apple stock, and I will be 10 times better in 20 years. And I never had to deal with any of the maintenance, any of the headaches of owning the house.
I think that's the difference between like gambling on the stock market and putting your money in like a blue chip where it has like just a guaranteed annual increase. You just got to bide your time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also you sound more right when you say it in the ways that's like, however fast the way that the society works changes. Like again, you're talking to people that grew up in the Uber world,
Yeah, exactly.
in an Airbnb world.
It changes.
Like
shit.
I still like I've only Airbnb'd once, and I verbal. You know what I mean? Like the idea of that, like it's still a little
It's
foreign
a
to
little
me.
Weird.
Yeah.
You know what I always think is weird is like subscription things. Like we've come to the world now that we live in the world. Like, could you imagine paying freaking $10 a month just to listen to music? When I was growing up, I would just download Napster and shit. We're in this world that we're paying forever. We're basically renting music.
Okay, so that makes sense. And that, so you're right.
It's crazy.
So the people that would still love a CD or a hard copy of something,
Yeah.
not in a prepper way,
Yeah.
Like, but do you have? Are they fools, or do you have a little bit of respect for that?
I have respect for it.
Okay, so that's why you think in that kind of way. But owning the house is like not being like tied to the streaming service. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like fucking like. But the thing is, the streaming service is so obvious, right? Like it's just like, well, this works. Like it but ask the artist if it works.
Yeah. it
Right?
does.
Like again,
No.
they become the bank.
Yeah.
Right? And now they've made it, and now they made it easier for us in this. It's just like I can't talk to how a fucking person who thinks that Uber's been here forever
Mhm.
and ride sharing is a thing, like on the concept of owning your life to the bank.
Mhm.
But that's like thinking of it in the most negative type of way. You're also talking to a generation of people, you know, we talked earlier, like off air, of like putting yourself in other people's shoes. I don't expect people to look at the world like I do. Like I like having a job for a long time. I like living in the town that I grew up. Like I like vacations, but I don't have a burning desire to see the whole world. Like the internet is still so fucking fascinating to me.
Mhm.
Like I still learn. I'm not jaded off the internet. Like I'm jaded. I get jaded enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see changes, see things I don't like, and I just I ignore it. But the fact that I come to my house right? Like, yes, it sucks that I'm responsible for the roof, but I'm like, whatever, other than like trying to take a day off work, like I'm still I'm still in my prime. I'm still in my like years of wanting to have this. I'm still lucky enough that I know that, like, other than a collapse, that my investment's going to put me in a position that I can sell the house and then rent for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
Like, obviously, then when I become like a 65-year-old guy,
Yeah.
then I'm not going to want to own it. I understand what you're saying. I don't feel that desire, but it feels like my money's not going to waste right now.
But that's just a feeling.
No. It's okay. Yeah,
Like
but
we could attribute the same thing to food. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go buy I'm gonna buy Firehouse, right? I ate that, it's gone. Was that a waste or was it not a waste? I don't really know. I got food in my belly. So people who rent, they're like, was it a waste or was it not a waste? I don't know. I have a roof over my head. I come to my house every day. What difference does it make to me?
But if you're renting for the same, okay, I get it. Like, this is like, I don't even know what I want to talk about. The
sorry.
fact
It was a just do a hard pivot. Forget it.
but I'm just saying, like, your hope is, unless the fucking thing, everything collapses, your hope is that you're just banking that money and you're going to get it back when you sell the house,
Yeah.
right? Like, not everybody paid fucking $100,000 for the house and going to get to sell it for $300,000.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Worst case scenario is you paid it for $3 and it's only worth $1. But if you lived in that whole house for like the 15 years that it went from 3 to 1 and you only rented, you walk away with not even 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And then you start from scratch all over again.
That's if your hope is for you to benefit on the outside, on the other end of it, not that you're paying for a place to live. It's like going to a hotel where your hope is to have somewhere to sleep for any X amount of time that you want. You're not thinking that, well, if I bought this hotel, then I could come here anytime I want and then come out on the other side with X amount of dollars. You're not thinking about that. What you want to do is have a place to live. You don't want to live on the street.
If you go to Florida all the time, you stop thinking about going there to a hotel or renting other rooms. You go, you know what? I'm going to buy a house in Florida.
I wouldn't.
And rent it. Neither would I.
Yeah.
Because I understand what hassles come with it.
Yeah.
I understand that I would just rather rent for those 2 weeks that I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So
Get
I'm
a
agreeing
hotel.
with you on that. But when it comes to buying the house, it's because just like the food, you have to eat and you have to live somewhere. So you've decided to take your fucking $20 and buy a piece of shit sub from fucking Firehouse Sub, where like the most fucking industrious person will go, you know, for that $20, I could can pickles fucking from here to fucking July.
Yeah.
And I can also go and kill myself a chicken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or do whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they can make that food last even longer. We still went a whole episode of talking to your cousins about your cousin's restaurant, and I wanted to make them our first official sponsor.
I forgot about that.
And so, you know what I mean? Like, they know people want to eat. They want people to come to their restaurant to eat.
Yeah.
So they have to sell it. They make people understand like why you have to do it. Like, but people have to eat no matter what. So they have to choose them. You have to live. You know what I mean? Like, living is something different. Like, it's every day. Every day you're not going to go to your cousin's restaurant. What's it called again?
Backyard. Back a yard.
And it's in where?
It's in Brampton.
On where?
700 Balmoral Drive.
And it's going good?
It's going pretty good. Everyone's they're getting really good reviews on Google, so you guys can Google it.
Nice.
Everything's going good.
All right.
It's really nice.
That's not the hard pivot I wanted, but
Yes.
we'll bring them up from now on, and
Yes.
we'll bring them up at the beginning.
For sure.
My bad for not doing that. I meant to do that. I want to try their oxtail. I get to try their oxtail before yours.
It's looking like it.
So I get it. I mean, I've never really thought. We'll try to go on that for there. But I want to end on why I brought it up.
Yes.
It's because it seems like with whatever fucking derail that you just kind of had, is that it's one thing for our own citizens or our own situations or communities to drive up demand for
Yes.
these prices.
Yes.
Right? Like, all this other shit is just adding to the confusion of why rent goes up and why mortgages go up.
Yep.
And all that other shit. And then, like, Chinese or Russians or whatever buying our property just for the investment value alone does nothing for the average Canadian citizen, which in our socialist society, we want our politicians to protect us from.
Yeah.
So when I heard that they made a rule like about certain bans on foreign in real estate investment, my first thought, okay, that's probably good. Right? Without
Yeah.
even caring about
That's
the
what I thought
consequences.
too.
And then I was reading about fucking this. That's why I even wanted to bring it up way fucking minutes ago. Is that the effect on free agency in our fucking sports? Some fucking dude, some American got traded to like Edmonton or whatever, even fucking Polte that got traded to the Raptors. And even if he wants to stay here, he can't buy a house.
Yeah.
Like he's from fucking whatever, fucking Scandinavia or whatever. He's American. Who cares? And so say we re-sign him, and he's okay. I'm deciding if I want to live in Toronto for the next 4 years. So this great real estate market, you know what I mean? Like I can either rent or if I buy, then that apparently for what idiotic ever reason they want to do. This is from this article saying is they want to buy, and so
that's what they said.
That's what they said. But they've been fucking bought by the banks. These people,
Yeah.
and they are probably bought by Scotiabank. But anyway, and so he's like, but I can't. This might affect on if I'm going to play in Toronto or not.
Well, that's ridiculous. I didn't even see that kind of a situation arising. The government, the politicians.
I mean, it's not like in the grand scheme of things, it's not a country problem,
No,
right? Like even
not.
like the taxes that a $20 million player a year might make,
Yeah.
or the person's house that he might buy. Like there's lots of people that are affected by this.
Yeah.
Even fandom, you know what I mean? Like future tripping on us, like, oh, my team's not going to be as good if they can't get this guy or that guy. But like, I do think it would have an effect, only in a propaganda type of way, right? Like we need a guy like you to come in and say, no, you just want to rent. You just want to rent.
Just go
and
for
then
it.
you're just fine. Like, shut these fucking, the bank's got you in their back pocket.
Yeah.
But I did think it was kind of fucked up.
It is.
I wonder if they might find a stipulation or something they can, but
Yeah, it's probably going to be like, MLSE buys the house and then they pay him. That would be smart.
Look at you, under the table kind of guy.
I'm already there. I'm ready
See,
to
you
go.
should use some of
Ready
this
to go.
tactics to fucking deal with us clowns at work, so it makes your life better. But
I should.
you fucking ended up derailing me on whatever my thoughts were on that. It's all good.
Sorry.
I'll have a better excuse on why you should buy than rent from next week. But I've just rented this beer that I drank.
Did you?
I have to get rid of it.
You better send it back.
I gotta go pee.
There's a quick deposit. It's in the toilet. Quick deposit.
Well, hopefully this one had no technical issues, people.
I don't think so. I think we should be good. I hope. Cross fingers.
Not to brag, but we've had like a fucking 20% increase in our Twitter followers.
Yes.
Want to thank everybody for watching and listening and all that. And had fun, buddy.